604 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, JP producing. We are starting off your Tuesday morning at another cool one. 64 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Don't get used to this cool weather. You heard that forecast right there. It ain't sticking around. It's barely the first false fall of the season, as we will have. We learned this last year. Multiple false falls. So, but I'll take it while we get it at 64 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Got a busy show lined up for you today. We have Lord Melancon, head of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, going to join us to reflect upon the big announcement from last week of Baton Rouge being named a top 10 metro for Site Selection magazine. We've got Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse with us today. We got it fixed. We've got there I am. Okay. Mike Moncla is going to talk a little LNG, talk a little carbon capture, and Congressman Troy Carter is going to join us for DC Current presented by LABI. Oh, and of course, coming up later on this hour, we head down to New Orleans to speak with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. It's looking like the race card is being played in the mayor's race down in New Orleans. Royce DePlessis has a commercial out talking about Helena Moreno, and the tag here is "She Ain't One of Us." Uh-oh. But before we get to any of that, we start with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Our Lady of the Lake is expanding their current facility in Walker to include an overnight emergency room. President of Our Lady of the Lake Health, Chuck Spicer, said that the addition will be the first and only 24-hour observation unit in the entire parish. The new facility is going to have 10 beds and additional 12 physicians trained in emergency services as well.
Number 4.
An 83-year-old man received a decade-long prison sentence yesterday for the death of his disabled adult son. Ellsworth Hull beat his special needs son, 40-year-old Derek Kristoff, to death in 2020 with a wooden mop handle and a metal broomstick. Hull was indicted for second-degree murder. He pleaded down to manslaughter. He was sentenced to 10 years at hard labor.
Number 3.
A portion of the Tangipahoa River is open to marine traffic around 2 weeks after the Roseland plant explosion. As of 3 p.m. yesterday, the Tangipahoa River was open from Black Bayou to the mouth of the river. The Tangipahoa Parish government is asking any marine traffic not to travel any north of Black Bayou.
Number 2.
Charlie Davis, Chief Administrative Officer for Mayor Edwards, will transition into a new role as Chief Efficiency Officer for the city parish, where he will focus on restructuring and right-sizing parish government, eliminating unnecessary costs, and streamlining processes. Additionally, Davis is going to oversee the search for a permanent CAO who will handle the day-to-day operations of government.
Number 1.
Accused killer Earl Lee Johnson is facing life in prison for a murder that he streamed on social media. In 2022, a grand jury indicted Johnson for the murder of 34-year-old Janice David. Officials said the pair had been on a 3 to 4 day drug binge before David was killed. Investigators say Johnson tied her to a car steering wheel, repeatedly stabbed her in a live video that was more than 15 minutes long and watched by more than 100 people. Oh, yeah. Dude, you weren't here for that one, man.
Gosh.
That was, I believe it was off of Sherwood. It was,
wow.
No, it was, yeah. Your boy went Facebook Live, had her strapped to the steering wheel. I mean, the most brutal of brutal.
Sick, man.
Absolutely sick.
Goodness, man. Well, in other news, looks like the perimeter around Smitty's Supply needs to broaden out as heavy metals and soot are being found in soil samples as much as 6 miles away.
Okay, so that story is kind of juxtaposed with opening the river from Black Bayou to the lake, right?
Right.
Now, we had Pat Mashburn on yesterday, who is a resident in Tangipahoa Parish along the Tangipahoa River. And according to him and his samples, and dude's got receipts, man. He's got the pictures, he's got the video. Like, it's not any better further downriver. Now, he lives further north than Black Bayou. So I don't know if the river widens out, gets closer to the lake, if things are thinning out enough.
Okay.
But, man, pushing river traffic up.
Yeah. I mean,
That all that's going to do is push all that onto shore.
Yeah.
Whatever's
Terrible.
in the water is going to end up on shore.
Terrible, terrible. And I'm sure it'll even grow from even there. I mean, it'll go further than that. Well, the Phillies' Karen continues to dominate social media after stealing a home run ball from a 10-year-old. For those who haven't seen it, I mean, just ridiculous, right?
So she has a claim that she caught the ball, then dropped it.
Did she, though?
We
can rewind that. We can
you got to rewind the
footage.
video, and I don't know if the footage starts at a spot where you could see that she caught the ball and dropped it. Even if she caught the ball and dropped it, the way she attacks that father and son,
right,
is just it's deplorable. And it looked like, and I saw somebody giving like a frame by frame breakdown.
Oh,
she
really?
Caught
they
it,
did.
But like it was in an awkward position.
Yeah.
And when she went to reposition to move it to her hand, that's when it dropped to the ground and the dad swooped in.
Oh, man.
But either way, the dad gives it to his son. Feels like a hero. I got you a home run ball. Anyway, son comes out much better. Gets a prize pack from the Phillies. Gets a signed bat from the guy that hit the home run.
Yeah,
I mean, the son comes out 1,000 times better on the back end when it comes to, just collectibles and merch and having a memory of that day and having a memory of, hey, my dad did things the right way.
Yes.
That, to me, at 10 years from now, 15 years from now, whatever, when that 10-year-old is in his 20s,
yes,
he's going to be able to look back and say, my dad did everything right in that moment.
He did. That's one thing I think about as a dad as well. I mean, the guy, he gave up the ball. Like, you know what? It's okay. Son, it's okay. He didn't know. He didn't know he would be rewarded with anything else. He was like, you know what? It's hers. Let's give it to her. So, yeah. Man, good on the dad.
Yep.
Shame on the Karen. Hey, the consensus is growing that 31 Atlas, the object hurling towards our solar system, is in fact a comet.
Boo!
Unfortunately, I was gonna.
Boo!
It's unfortunately not aliens.
I wanted Mars Attacks
Aliens.
here. Back. I wanted Mars Attacks.
I wanted District 9.
Yeah.
That movie was wild. Oof. Aliens came to Earth. They just kind of gave them their own areas, around the nation. It's crazy. Crazy. That's what I wanted.
So it's not only a comet, but apparently it's changing shape as it moves.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What's it, like 130,000 miles an hour?
Yeah.
It's hurtling towards.
I would change shape at 130,000 miles an hour.
I would too.
It's not like full on Play-Doh, but
no, but I mean, oh man, what do we think about this? So we're looking at what, a landfall in what, November, December-ish?
Yeah, but it's not going to hit us, right?
It won't hit us?
No, it's supposed to loop around the sun first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
612 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Need just a minute to tell you about the folks at NeuroJust. If you or someone you know, someone you love is battling with anxiety or depression, and you already know it's a 1-2 punch, right? It's the anxiety that leads to the depression. It's the constant fight or flight battle within your mind, those choppy 6-foot waves inside your head. That fight or flight that's inescapable is exhausting. To constantly be in that go mode is exhausting. Well, if you are in that boat and you do have those 6-foot waves just smacking around in your head, and the sit-down therapy to talking it out isn't working, or the prescription drug route isn't working or losing effect or giving you side effects or whatever, maybe think about trying TMS. TMS therapy. It stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation. They use magnetic pulses to stimulate areas of the brain that are involved in mood regulation. So basically, they calm the seas from the outside in. It's FDA approved. It's non-invasive. There are no side effects, and they've got the backing. They've got the data that backs up that it works. TMS has shown response rates of 70 to 80%, remission rates of 60 to 70%. So if you're constantly in that battle, or you know someone who is, check out neurojust.com. NEUROJUST. They offer this therapy right here in Baton Rouge on Bluebonnet Boulevard. Neurojust.com. Brian Kelly spoke with the media yesterday. We'll have some audio next. No. And I'm going to add this onto it as well. The 10-year-old didn't pitch a fit. When the dad reached back in the glove and took the ball back out, the 10-year-old, no, yeah. He didn't do that. He's already winning at life.
This kid's being raised
already.
Right, man. This kid's being raised right. Oh, man.
Woo! Got to keep it moving. We're already at 6:17 to talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. It is sports time. Brian Kelly met with the media yesterday, as he does every Monday every Monday of a game week, that is. Let's start off with a couple of cuts looking back at last week's game.
We dominated them statistically within that game. Our defense, up until, late in the game where we made some substitutions, was poised for a shutout. Anytime you can get that, you're really pleased. I think from an offensive standpoint, some individual performances. Barry Brown was outstanding. It was good to see Harlan Berry get involved and do some really good things. Xavion, multi-dimensional, running the football. 9 of 16, I think, on third down efficiency. So, a lot of really good things.
All right, so you go from there. And by the way, Kelly was asked later on in the press conference if Harlan Berry earned himself more touches. He said he's earned himself more discussion, or he's in the mix, something to that effect. That being said, even with the disappointment, your overall takeaway after breaking down the film is what?
We didn't underperform. If we underperformed, we probably put that game in reach for La Tech and maybe lose the game. But it was not an elite performance. And as I mentioned to you, that performance is everybody. I have to coach better. Our coaches have to be better teachers and coaches. We've got to be much more organized in certain areas. And then our players have to reach and exceed the standard of what we expect and what they expect from themselves. And we didn't have that across the board.
We didn't underperform, but it wasn't the best. I could see the middle ground there, for sure. Because it was, after all, a trap game. It was, after all, a look-ahead game because you got Florida coming to town this week, which, that's going to be huge. All eyes on Baton Rouge this Saturday.
I can't predict, what happened with them versus this week. They were the better team. They didn't play to their standard. So they're going to play to their standard this week, and we know that. Playing Florida is always a big game on everybody's schedule. We'll just need to worry about ourselves and play to our standard.
It's 6:20 at Talk 107.3 FM. Here's the Fox Business Report. All right, heading on back to the traffic center. Here's what we got going on right now. Up on the interstates, it's actually a little bit lighter than no, excuse me. Let me get over to O'Neill Lane. You've got your normal volume back by Range Avenue, right? Well, that picks up heavily by O'Neill Lane. It clears back up again to your normal volume all the way from there through the 10-12 merge. But when you're around O'Neill Lane, you are going to tap the brakes a little more than usual. 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish is looking good right now. I-10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish is looking good, as is 110, as are both bridges. No surface street accidents to report at this time, but if we're checking in out in Prairieville, it's looking like there's some pretty big delays where Old Jefferson meets Airline Highway right past that racetrack. There's a long string of red on the map, though I'm not showing why, just that there is the congestion. So you're probably going to wait a light cycle, if not two. That is your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. .624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Gonna want your take here on Facebook Live. We're up live on Facebook every single day, courtesy of the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. We hit a story in Top Stories and Trending, and I'm looking for the longer version of it now, where an 83-year-old man was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the death of his adult special needs son. Here it is. The story, as it reads, an 83-year-old man received a decade-long prison sentence Monday for the death of his disabled adult son. Ellsworth Hull beat his special needs son, 40-year-old Derek Christoph, to death in 2020 with a wooden mop handle and a metal broomstick. Arrest documents say law enforcement was called to the home after Hull had made contact with his lawyer first. Police found Christoph in the bathtub with old and new wounds all over his body. Hull was indicted for second-degree murder, pleaded down to manslaughter. He was sentenced to 10 years at hard labor. Now, I don't know any of the other details of this story, any other details that went into when Christoph was killed. Here's what I want your feedback on over on Facebook Live. Sentencing an 83-year-old man to 10 years in prison. Does 10 years sound like enough? It's manslaughter. I know there are rules. We're going to talk about this tomorrow with Franz and get an actual legal opinion on it. I just want your gut opinion. What does your gut tell you? On the one hand, he's 83. On the other hand, sentenced to 10 years at hard labor. At 83 years old, isn't hard labor basically a life sentence? The follow-up question is, why plead down? You're 83. Now, I know he's not going to serve the full 10, but the likelihood of him getting back out of there again, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the map with this one. My gut is telling me it's not enough. Found in the bathtub with old and new wounds all over his body. But like I said, I don't know the backstory here. This is not one where I didn't go back to 2020 and look up all the original articles on this, if there were any. For all we know, there was a self-defense end of it where the son was attacking him. We don't know. Or I don't know. If you've got anything on this, let me know on Facebook Live, courtesy of Lake Urgent Care. We're up there every single day, and we seek your feedback. We want your feedback. Love getting the conversation going. We got the crew that posts up there, keeping the chat going all the time. See if we got any feedback yet. Oh, well, most of it's about the Phillies, Karen. There's no escaping that, which we'll get to in just a minute. But give me your take on this. 83 years old, sentencing an 83-year-old man to prison. Do you think he, on the one hand, on the bleeding heart side, is there a scenario where you see him committing a similar crime? Probably not. But on the other hand, you don't just let someone walk for killing someone else, for taking another life. I guess I'm in that weird boat where I feel like the sentence should have been longer, but the hard labor feels excessive. You let me know. Give me your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. We'll talk during the break as well. Keith says at 83, 10 years is a death sentence. What's a life sentence? Let's well, I know I'm arguing semantics at this point, Keith, but you're not wrong. But like it is the rest of it. It is the remainder of his life, to be sure. Troy says, I would be in favor of adding homicide of a special needs person to the list of first degree. Yeah, same. Now, again, before we talk about this with Franz, before we get, and Troy's an attorney, but before we get a full legal perspective from Franz, I want to go back and read the backstory on this. Because was this just a bludgeoning or was there a level of self? You can picture the scenario where, you know where I'm going?
Yeah.
I don't want to say it out loud, but I think y'all know where I'm going. Good stuff so far. We just want to see more feedback over on Facebook Live. Let's get that conversation going before we get you to news, which is a little bit over a minute away. Within that minute, I get to tell you about my Thursday. Oh, y'all. I know game day was hot. All right. And I know as you're walking around campus on last Saturday, and it's going to be hot again this Saturday. And there's going to be more people on campus Saturday. But as I was walking, so my parking spot is down by Tiger Park. And as I'm walking up, of course, I'm passing my Therns. And I got to stop in, honestly, to buy a Red Bull. And here comes Mr. Ernie walking out. Fresh batch of jambalaya. I had to indulge. Look, Ernie does his jambalaya. He's next level. He's one of those guys. You know how jambalaya is just jambalaya unless you're one of those guys? Yeah. Ernie's in that class. Yeah. So got myself some jambalaya. It's 90-something degrees outside. Heat index is pushing triple digits, and I'm firing hot jambalaya down my pipe. So worth it. So good. It's just such a game day staple, a game day stop. They're not 24. They're a 7-day-a-week grocery store, to be sure. They're here for you every single day. But it's an absolute must, an absolute essential to swing by Mathern's on game day. They're right on campus, right across the street from Tiger Stadium in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. And don't forget, that downtown location is there for you. The Highland Road location is there for you as well. But on game day, it's a must to stop at Mathern's. ABC News, local news, traffic, weather, then a stop down in New Orleans. Jeff Crouere joins us next right here on Talk 107.3 FM. No BS, y'all. That wasn't me doing, yes, that was my live read. But friggin' Ernie knows what the hell he's doing with it. It's a special kind of read to make sure that black pepper pops. And to me, all the rest of the seasonings, everybody else knows how to do that. They know how to throw the Trinity in the pot, right? But when you can make that black pepper pop, whoa! Now, one thing that Ernie does, he's never going to win a jambalaya contest in Gonzales.
Okay.
Because they like their rice to fall apart. I prefer a little bit clumpier rice, a little bit the rice sticky together, almost like it's Japanese rice. I like the rice to kind of stick together, stick to the meat. I don't like everything just all flaky and falling apart. Really? Wait, she? Ellsworth is a she? No, Ellsworth is a man. Reported he caused his injury when he... Okay. What was the sentence for the couple that let their special needs child decompose on their couch? See, Troy, we're here, boss. We're here. That's the story I was thinking of that was comparable. 20 years apiece for the parents. And good morning, Christy. Welcome in, sweetheart. Okay, so what's worse, though? What's worse, though? Beating your special needs son to death or just letting your special needs daughter, like, decompose? Now, those parents claimed that those were the daughter's wishes. She didn't want medical attention. She's just like, I'm going to ride it out. I don't buy that for a second.
And as a parent, you just say, okay, sweetie.
Yeah.
No problem.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, those two parents were in their 60s. To me, there's a huge difference between, like, was more than a decade's difference. So it's, let's say they're 65, 66 years old. They're going to be getting out of prison at the same time as an 83-year-old. No, they'll be getting out. Yeah, if they serve the whole time. The amount of suffering that girl must have endured. Yes. Did you get my text? Okay. I want to play this coming in, or I'll toss to it. I'm sending you. I'm sending you something. Doop, doop, doop. Yeah, yeah. I'll toss to it. .637 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to check in as we do every Tuesday morning with our good buddy Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics down in New Orleans. Jeff, how are you, man?
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Good morning. Want to start off in the mayor's race if we could this morning, and if you'll indulge me here, I believe this commercial's hitting the airwaves. Just give me 30 seconds. Go ahead, JP.
I know you've seen the big money campaign trying to convince us that she has a plan for our city. Where was this plan while she led the city council? The truth is, Moreno was behind the chaos in City Hall that's held us back. Now she wants a promotion. That's not how it works. New Orleans. We have a choice. Royce Duplessis. Royce is one of us. Royce has the vision to get New Orleans back on track and the receipts to back it up. That's why for mayor, Royce is the choice.
Your takeaways are?
Well, he's making an appeal to his roots in New Orleans. It's a family that's been in New Orleans politics for a while, and we just had an experience electing a mayor who is not a New Orleans native, and obviously Helene Moreno is not a New Orleans native. So I think he's trying to do several things in that ad. I mean, establish his roots and bring New Orleans voters back to him, and just remind people of the horrible experience we had under LaToya Cantrell, who was not from New Orleans. So the message is vote for someone that knows New Orleans, has been here all his life.
How long has Moreno been in New Orleans?
She's been here a long time. I mean, decades. I mean, she was a reporter for WGSU for a long time before starting her political career. So, I mean, she's been here a long time. I'd say at least a quarter century.
Okay. I'm just curious because when I hear Royce is one of us, my takeaway wasn't native New Orleanian. My takeaway was, is the race card already showing its face in this race?
You could look at it that way. That is obviously going to be in his favor because the majority of the voters in New Orleans are African American, and if he can lure the vast majority of their vote, I mean, he obviously wins. He doesn't need that much white support. So we'll see. I mean, he's definitely established himself, in my opinion, as the in second place. He's got the momentum. He certainly is, I think, becoming more formidable. And upon thinking about it, what happened with LaToya the Destroyer, the indictment, I think really hurt Oliver Thomas because it reminded people that Oliver Thomas had been indicted and convicted and went to prison. And that just brought up that memory with people again. And I think it hurt him from being able to grow, his support base. I mean, he's not out of it. He's still, working hard. But I think the momentum in the race is certainly with Duplessis.
We're talking Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. Okay, is that momentum showing up in numbers yet, or are we still in a wait-and-see mode on that front?
I mean, I think there have been a few polls that have been out. Ron Fauché has been doing a lot of the polling for, some of these news outlets. And, he had overtaken Oliver Thomas, but he's still far behind Moreno. Moreno still has majority of the money. Mm-hmm. She got some pretty big endorsements that just came down for her, including former Congressman Cedric Richmond, the district attorney, Jason Williams. So that's formidable. And she certainly got, I would say, a better than even chance of winning. But Duplessis is a younger guy. He is doesn't have maybe the baggage of someone that's been in politics for a long time. Got a well-known political name. So he's certainly shaking things up. And obviously, a very interesting story. He got in, got out, got back in.
Yeah.
The anti-Helena forces probably said, hey, you got to get back in here. You're the only one that can beat her. And, we'll see.
I know there are multiple facets to what goes into voting for mayor of New Orleans, but I want to ask this one question before we move on to our next topic. In your opinion, which of those three candidates is best for business?
Is best for business?
Yeah, best for bringing jobs back to the city.
I would say most of the business community is going to be with Moreno, because they think that she can communicate well, could create a good image for New Orleans. I mean, I think all of them would be theoretically good for business, but I think the business community is going to be behind her, thinking it should be the best one for business. As a conservative, I look at all of them and I say, wow, they're all very liberal.
Yeah.
And to be really good for business, you need a person that understands the private sector, someone that's going to grow the private sector, someone that understands government is way too big, wants to make government more efficient, wants to create incentives for businesses to come to New Orleans. That's the kind of leader that I want to see, and that's just not available unless you go to the one Republican candidate, a man named Frank Janusa, who is, the longest of long shots.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously going to be the longest of long shots there. You would have to have a ridiculously big name to have an R behind your name. You would have to, I mean, it would take like a, and I don't know Drew Brees' politics, but it would take a Drew Brees type name.
Somebody like a Sidney Torres.
But Torres has had his shot, though, hasn't he?
Torres has toyed with this for years. I mean, he's looked at it and decided not to run because I think he's just not in tune politically. I mean, he is, a Republican. His mom's a Republican. They've supported Trump. So I just think he, realizes shrewdly that just, would not work in New Orleans. So the role he's taken is power broker, kingmaker, puppet master. And, I mean, he was probably more responsible for LaToya Cantrell winning than anybody.
Which, in hindsight, poor guy. There was no way he could know, right?
Well, I mean, I think I knew. I mean, I saw her, and I'm like, she's terrible. I mean, I never was on board with her. I mean, she was running against someone who was polished, articulate, again, with New Orleans roots, Desiree Charbonnet, and LaToya Cantrell. I mean, I never saw it with her. And anyway, Sidney was upset with Desiree Charbonnet because she blew off one of his debates, and he was mad at her. So he really took it out on her and helped LaToya win. Now he's supporting Moreno, and will do what he can to get her elected. But she's got a more polished opponent in Duplessis. So I'd say the odds are we're going to a runoff. Yep. And then, we'll see if the African-American vote consolidates behind Duplessis or if Moreno is still able to get a good size of it and able to prevail. It's going to be very interesting.
We got Jeff Crouere on with us for a couple more minutes here. Jeff, I know I've got a stack of things I want to talk about, but I want to pivot over to something that might not be completely on the radar, but it's definitely a topic of discussion. As President Trump talks about the possibility of sending the National Guard to Chicago and or New Orleans, what's the take inside the city about the National Guard making a return?
The police chief's for it. I think most of the people that I talk to on the show are for it. I know the politicians aren't, like Troy Carter's not in favor of it. I know LaToya Cantrell's not, Moreno's not, none of the candidates are. But I think if you ask the average citizen that's been victimized by crime for decades, yeah, they'll favor it. I mean, we've talked about bringing in the National Guard for years. I mean, New Orleans has 900 police officers. In the past, they said New Orleans needed 1,600. Now they say the number is closer to 1,300. All right, so we're still hundreds of officers short of where we should be. So to fill in the gap, we've had Troop NOLA. I mean, that's been a big help. But I think if you're really going to, make a difference, I think the National Guard would be welcomed by people. And I think it's done wonders for D.C. I've looked at the numbers there, Brian. They've had a tremendous reduction in crime.
They have, but it's also a short window, a small data set on the back end. Because, like Jeff, right there in New Orleans, we've seen where Troop NOLA comes in, does an amazing job, cleans up a whole lot, but it's not sustained after it's peeled back, right? What's it going to take to get New Orleans on a path where it is its own low crime, not just that?
Well, two things are needed, Brian. We've got to get rid of this consent decree, okay, where we have the federal government, a federal judge, Susie Morgan, running the police department. Mm-hmm. That's got to happen. The NOPD has got to run their own department. And secondly, we need to recruit more officers. And they have not. Everyone says that they want to keep Ann Kirkpatrick as police chief. So no matter who wins, she'll stay as police chief. I mean, that's been the one failing. I mean, she hasn't been able to recruit more officers. We haven't had an increase. And that's just a glaring problem that we have. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, the real solution is growing the police force to an adequate number.
Right. Got 2 minutes left with Jeff Crouere before we got to cut him loose because he's got his own show coming up at 7 o'clock. Jeff, if we could, how much do you know about this Airbnb battle? Because I keep reading random articles on it, and I'm conflicted as to if I think this is heading in the right direction.
Well, I mean, there was a legal victory for the officials in New Orleans. So they've got a lot of regulations on tourist rentals, short-term rentals.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like nearly all of those regulations have been upheld. So you had some, rental owners and Airbnb alleging that, the city officials were too restrictive, and these Airbnbs have been popping up like crazy. So they're trying to control it, put permits on it, verifications, limiting the number of rentals, et cetera. And the judge, who's a Republican, Jay Zaney, said no. He rejected most of their claims that the city had overstepped their bounds, and he dismissed their arguments. So he said that the rules didn't violate property rights. So there you go. So the city prevailed.
Man, I'm like ripped right down the middle, because we know, like, housing shortage on the one side, like we know that it's seller's market to be sure down there, but on the flip side of it, man, I'm all in favor of a property owner's rights here to do what they wish. It's just a matter of having too many properties.
I think there had been complaints from property owners that there was craziness, too many people packed in there, it was not regulated. Mm-hmm. And a city like New Orleans, they like to regulate. They like to put in permitting, and I agree with you. I mean, I think it's infringement on property rights. As a property owner, I should be able to do this if I want to do it.
Right.
I should be able to rent out to whoever I want to. I own the property.
Right. And then the balance there is, meanwhile, the neighbor owns their property as well, and they shouldn't have a frat house next door, every other weekend. I don't know, man. I'm split right down the middle on it.
Yeah, and of course, the Democrat administration, Democrat council members were very pleased by it. But I think this could hurt tourism in New Orleans. I mean, Airbnb had to get rid of thousands of listings. So,
would that,
it's an ongoing battle, because they could appeal it.
Wouldn't that trickle back up to the hotels, though? Like, if you're coming to, I don't know, is that the game breaker on making your decision to go to New Orleans? Would it ultimately be better for hotels if the restrictions stay in place?
Maybe. I mean, maybe if you want that kind of experience to be in a hotel as opposed to being in a neighborhood, which is, you get a better feel for the city that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would assume the hotels would like this, because it'll lead to more business for them. But I think it could hurt in some ways. But again, I think it's an infringement on the property owner's rights.
I'm with you.
I think I think they should appeal it. We'll see.
We will.
Hopefully they will.
All right, you got to get your butt on air. He's Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. Right. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks. Now I'm all fired up about that topic. Are you kidding me? Mike Baham met the Pope.
Dang, Mike Baham.
State rep from Chalmette.
Right. Dang. How did that happen? He's just like...
A few weeks ago, I had the tremendous privilege of meeting Pope Leo XIV at the Pope Paul VI Audience Hall, where I presented the Holy Father with a copy of the Louisiana House of Representatives resolution I authored congratulating him on his election as the first American pontiff and recognizing his New Orleans roots.
Oh, wow.
I also gave the Pope a glass oyster shell symbolic of my community of St. Bernard Parish and our Louisiana America 250 lapel pin. During our conversation, I asked the Holy Father to bless the people of St. Bernard Parish as we approach the 20th anniversary of Katrina, and for prayers for my mother, Kathy, and a dear friend who works in the state capitol battling cancer.
All right. Okay.
You Bayham. My guy.
Man.
Bruh. Oh, I don't have it on the sheet, but I've got an interview right after the show.
Okay.
Anasiga
Is-
Nicolazzi.
Is Moon still coming in?
Oh, shit, he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'll move it across the hall.
Okay.
.655 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got ABC News coming your way in about 5 minutes from right now. We've got hour 2 is going to be jam-packed. Lauren Melanson from the Baton Rouge Area Chamber is going to join us at 7:15. Baton Rouge Police Chief TJ Morse at 7:35. Fired up. 2 phenomenal conversations coming your way and a lot of news to be covered within those conversations. Got to remind you about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is their home base online. FlyBTR.com. Love telling you about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport because it is really how great our airport is entirely up to us. How many options we have at our airport is entirely up to us. For example, a great example of this. A couple of years ago, they wanted to add a direct flight to Washington, D.C. We got that done. There's a direct flight that leaves at about 7:15 in the morning, comes back in the evening. You get your business in our nation's capital done same day. Boom, boom, boom. Fly there, knock it out, fly back. Of course, if you want to stay over in D.C., that's fantastic as well. Just come back the next day. But we've got a direct flight to D.C. because we use the direct flight to D.C. And I want to mention that because we can make some waves during football season as well, as there are nonstop flights added for away games for LSU. Vandy, Alabama, and Oklahoma. BTR is going to get you there and get you back. Nashville, Birmingham, Oklahoma City. If you're traveling to those games, check out flybtr.com. Direct flights have been added. Direct flights have been added, nonstop flights to Vandy, Alabama, and Oklahoma to make sure you have the best seat in the house for this year's most anticipated away games. Check out flybtr.com. Well, Attorney General Liz Murrell's been busy lately. Whole bunch of arrests on the, really on the child porn front. But that's not all. She has started the legal process in the state's attempt to reinstate the death sentence for convicted killer Dale Dwayne Craig. You heard the story in our news at the bottom of the hour, I believe. If not, it'll be in the next one. In 1992, Craig fired 3 bullets through the head of LSU freshman student Kip Gullett after stealing his vehicle.
We have someone who committed such a heinous crime without any remorse. It's just appalling. And so when we can test precedent in this way, we're going to do it.
Craig was just a few days shy of his 18th birthday when the crime took place. So he can't be put to death because of a 2005 U.S. Supreme Court ruling that says capital punishment cannot be carried out if the person was 17 or younger at the time of the crime.
We just don't see that there's any rational or logical reason to say that we can't use the death penalty in a case like that when he was 2 weeks shy of turning 18. And so it's a good vehicle for testing that Supreme Court precedent.
I'm going to stop with the news story right there just for 30 seconds of opinion. I like the fact that she's pushing the envelope here. I'm not the biggest pro-death penalty guy out there. I believe punishment is punishment, whether they're in a cell or in the ground. Okay, let's be what is the most efficient means of justice without creeping over to the vengeance side. But I love the fact that she's pushing the envelope. She's asking the right questions and asking the courts to sound off on those questions. So the Attorney General's office, in order to get this whole thing rolling, filed a motion with the 19th Judicial District of Baton Rouge to reinstate the death sentence for Craig. She expects it'll be denied. That'll allow the state to appeal to lower court's ruling to get the case up in front of eventually the U.S. Supreme Court.
We can work it up the chain and get it in the United States Supreme Court and see whether they will grant a writ and hear this case.
It's a great question, though, right? I mean, you can't put someone to death who was a minor when they committed the crime, but a minor by 2 weeks? At what point does that, is there a definitive, you have to have 18 candles on your birthday cake in order to be an adult? Is your mind any fuller developed over those last 2 weeks? She's asking the right questions. All right, hour two's next. All right, I've got to run up to my desk real quick. the Hawks. It's such a good line. And he like doubled over with laughter at it, which was awesome. But it's like Louisiana Travel Association's like, is that really like he's our keynote speaker? Is that really how you're going to talk to him? I'm like, kinda. No. Every Falcons fan knows they suck. Jesus. 2-1. 7:05 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. JP producing. Dipping down a degree to 63 in downtown Baton Rouge to start the second hour of the show. A jam-packed hour as it will be. Lori Melancon with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber is going to join us in our next segment. I've actually been looking forward to this conversation since last week because we'll be talking with Lori about being a top 10 destination. Baton Rouge area named a top 10 U.S. metro, by Site Selection magazine. What does it mean? What goes into that metric? What are we doing to capitalize on it? All those questions and more coming up in our next segment. And Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse is going to join us at 7:35. A couple of questions I have for the chief this month. We are almost into fall, fake fall, 63 degrees right now. How are our crime numbers stacking up last year versus this year? How are we looking? I know we started the year off well, but it feels like it's, you'll be going good, and then all of a sudden the headlines will just start stacking up with shootings. How are we looking right now? We'll talk with Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse coming up at 7:35. There's another topic I want to cover with him, and I really can't tease because I don't know if he wants to go down this rabbit hole with me. But I want to broaden things out and look at some of the other metros around the area, around the country, that when an idea is floated, like bringing the National Guard to town, what does that look like logistically? That's the general topic that I'd like to get at. Right now, though, let's start off with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
About 4:30 this morning near the corner of Scotland Avenue and Oriole Street, a person was taken to the hospital after being hit by a car. The pedestrian was taken to the hospital in stable condition, but did nonetheless have to be taken to the hospital.
Number 4.
An 83-year-old man received a decade-long prison sentence yesterday for the death of his disabled adult son. Ellsworth Hull beat his special needs son, 40-year-old Derek Christoph, to death back in 2020 with a wooden mop handle and a metal broomstick. Hull was indicted for second-degree murder but pleaded down to manslaughter, sentenced to 10 years at hard labor. We've been talking about this one over on the Facebook Live feed, brought to you by the folks at Lake Urgent Care. Sound off on this one. An 83-year-old man sentenced to prison. Conversely, how do you not sentence someone to prison when they kill somebody? We're chatting over on Facebook Live.
Number 3.
A portion of the Tangipahoa River is open to marine traffic around 2 weeks after the Smitty Supply explosion. As of 3 p.m. Monday, the river was open from Black Bayou to the mouth of the river where it flows out into Lake Pontchartrain. The Tangipahoa Parish government is asking marine traffic not to travel north of Black Bayou. Yesterday, we spoke with resident Pat Mashburn, who had ample reason not to travel past Black Bayou because it is it's disgusting. You got an oil-filled river down there.
Number 2.
Charlie Davis, Chief Administrative Officer for Mayor Edwards, will transition into a new role as Chief Efficiency Officer for the city parish, where he will focus on restructuring and right-sizing parish government, eliminating unnecessary costs and streamlining processes. Additionally, Davis will oversee the search for a permanent Chief Administrative Officer who will handle the day-to-day operations of government.
Number 1.
Accused killer Earl Lee Johnson is facing life in prison for a murder that he streamed on social media. Back in 2022, a grand jury indicted Johnson for the murder of 34-year-old Janice David. Officials say the pair had been on a 3 to 4 day drug binge before David was killed. Investigators say Johnson tied her to a car steering wheel, repeatedly stabbed her in a live video that streamed for more than 15 minutes.
Well, it looks like the perimeter around Smitty's supply needs to broaden out, as heavy metals and soot are being found in soil samples as much as 6 miles away.
So you got the opening of the mouth of the river. Conversely, you've got a widening of the area that's being scrutinized.
Yeah.
And the story we heard from Pat yesterday was, and Smitty's was up in Roseland, and Pat Mashburn lives on the Tangipahoa River. He was in studio with us yesterday. He is, what do you say? He's a mile north of Highway 22, which puts him south of I-12. And he's got a river full of oil and other chemicals, and that sheen that floats on top, and the thick black stuff that pushes up on the shore. And what's it doing in the soil? How far is it going to sink into the soil? Like, what's the extent? When's it going to stop is basically the question he's asking. And how can I seek help?
Yeah, it's terrible, right?
Yeah.
He said he had some footage, right?
No, he's got tons of it.
Wow.
Tons of it. Like, day to day, he's going out there every day, grabbing a sample of the water, keeping those samples all separate so you could track it day to day to see how it's gotten worse, if it's getting better. He dips the paper towel in the water, takes a picture of the paper towel. Now, I know that doesn't tell you a full story, but it is a very stark aesthetic.
Yes.
White paper towel, black oil, and water.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just going to have white paper towel, wet paper towel, white and black. It's just the visual of it.
That's right.
It pops.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Hey, the Phillies' Karen continues to dominate social media after stealing a home run ball from a 10-year-old. So, what are you thinking? What are we thinking here by the footage that was released? You made a really good point that the footage kind of, I guess it doesn't show exactly when the ball landed, right? We just catch a glimpse.
You catch
just
the dad
right
picking
after.
it up off the ground,
That's right.
out of the bleachers or out of the stands, and bringing it back to his son. Now, there's somebody on TikTok, can't remember his name, making the argument that she caught the ball first, then dropped it trying to transition it. Like, she caught it awkwardly with, like, in between her arms and chest and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then when she tried to move it to her hand, that's when it dropped. So if that's the case, is it hers? Or, I mean, it's, look, if she's burying Brown, it's not ruled to catch in the end zone, right?
Right. But, I mean, yeah, the way the story plays out, I mean, good on the dad. We talked about this last hour. Good on the dad.
So
for
I don't want to focus on the Karen. You're finish that thought. My bad. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, I mean, the dad, of course, gets confronted by this Karen. I feel so bad. Sorry for all the Karens out there, right? Doesn't it just a bad
Here's
rep?
the thing. And this is the thing. I have never met a Karen who's a Karen.
But until she comes forth with her real identity and they figure out who this really is,
right,
that's just what she gets, right?
But yes, I always feel bad for anyone named Karen. Anytime there's a story about a quote unquote Karen,
but the
because
haircut,
I've never met someone.
I mean, everything.
I know.
It's just everything. You fit the description, okay?
Yeah.
But shout out to the dad who, gave the ball to his son, and then of course gives the ball back to the woman. So, yeah.
So I don't want to focus on her. I want to focus on them.
Teaching a really great lesson.
The dad did everything right. And for the rest of his life, that son will carry that moment, that memory, and that message. That was a teaching moment right there. Yep. The dad was a hero on the front end, and then you had short-term disappointment for long-term gain.
Yeah.
You weren't looking for the immediate gratification of the ball, but what you got in return was a greater reward.
Yes.
the son will learn from that and carry that with him for the rest. The son is already winning at life better than the woman.
Oh, for sure. And of course, the team saw this and treated the kid to a signed bat and some other memorabilia.
Well, yeah, the guy who hit the home run ball
Yeah.
signed the bat and gave it to him. So,
Yeah.
and they gave him a whole prize pack and all that other good stuff. So, they're winning.
Yes.
I love that.
Indeed. Also, the consensus is growing that the 31 Atlas object hurtling towards our solar system is unfortunately just a comet.
I know. Here at Talk 107.3 FM, we were fully endorsing the idea of aliens making their way towards our planet. And now that, disappointingly, that's not going to happen. We are not going to experience Independence Day or Mars Attacks or 2001 A Space Odyssey or District 9 or Signs.
Dang.
All of our sci-fi movies remain sci-fi movies because this is a stupid comet. Stupid comet.
It's a space nugget. It's a meteorite.
You're my best friend, meteorite. 714 to Talk 107. It's Dookie. You're 714 to Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Quick break, we come back. Baton Rouge named a top 10 U.S. metro by Site Selection magazine. We're talking about it next.
I want to believe. I want to believe. That's Lori on the line as well.
Cool.
Back to this, Karen. So, I guess once, I don't know, never been in that situation. I'm sure, your adrenaline's rushing, the game's going on. This is part of memorabilia from the game. It's like, all right, cool. But I think once you see the dad give it to his son and you realize, oh, it's not the guy. He's not trying to keep it for himself. I think I would back off. I think about, oh, okay. Even if I did catch it and be like.
If you're the dad?
Or if I was anyone who caught it, who supposedly caught it.
Oh, you're saying if you're the Karen.
And I'm like, hey, what the? And I'm like, oh, you gave it to you? Okay. Well, I can see. I would back off.
There's no monetary value at stake here. No significant monetary value at stake. You're talking about we're early September.
Yeah.
I mean, if this were in the NLCS or the World Series, it's a different sort of thing.
Wade, yeah.
Right? If you're talking about a Hall of Famer hitting that home run, it's a different sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because there's money at stake. And I doesn't condone it, that doesn't forgive it, but
I mean, yeah. Playing by a different set of rules, if you will.
But yeah, it's a Phillies Marlins game in early September. Who gives a bibble? $7:16 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hey, Talk 107.3 FM, along with First American Bank and Trust, are teaming up to honor our military and raise funds for Folds of Honor. This nonprofit organization provides scholarships to the spouses and children of soldiers who were killed or disabled in service. To donate to this important cause, visit our website at talk1073.com. Folds of Honor, to honor their sacrifice and educate their legacy. Last week, it was announced that Baton Rouge area named a top 10 U.S. metro by Site Selection magazine. I want more information than that, so we turn to the head of the Baton Rouge area chamber. That would be Lori Melancon, who's on with us now. Lori, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing very well as well. So let's dive in here. The top 10 metro area. Is this something we seek? Is this something we go after? Or is it something that just by doing the day-to-day work that we're eligible for?
Yeah, no, we did not submit for this award or for this acknowledgement. This is one of those things that is based purely in data and information that Site Selection magazine accumulates from around the country.
Okay. What are some of the metrics that go into it? What makes us a top 10?
So the Site Selection magazine is not just a magazine. They also keep what's called the Conway Projects database. And so this is really important. In the world of rankings, and we like to follow these in Louisiana. There are quantitative rankings that are solely based on data, and then qualitative ones based on surveys or opinions or perspective. This is one based on Site Selection Magazine's database of projects that are happening around the country. In economic development, we use this a lot to see what's happening in other parts of the country and in our peer areas. And so what they've been doing is calculating per capita metrics around job creation and capital expenditures, and they put those against the time period. So this one looks at January 2021 through July 2025, and what are the metro areas that have the highest concentration of per capita job creation and capital expenditures during that time period. So I would suggest that probably this wave of big capital expenditure and job announcements that we've had in 2025 are going to linger in this ranking for a little while, as they will in our own economy.
So that was my follow-up question right there is, do these numbers include like Hyundai and CF and everything else that we've heard over the last, since this year began?
Yeah, that's right. They absolutely do. And
Okay.
so it really positions us well right now in this period of time when these big capital expenditure projects are coming online. The Baton Rouge area is well positioned for many reasons for those projects, and that will continue to surface in rankings like this.
We're talking with Lori Melancon, head of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, about the top 10 metro designation by Site Selection Magazine. Lori, I want to talk a little bit about the collaboration, because that A in Baton Rouge Area Chamber, that A stands for area, that A in BRAC stands for area. How important is the collaboration working with surrounding parishes to make sure that the whole is greater than the sum of our parts?
It's critical, and it's actually one of my favorite parts of the organization and my job. We get together with our partners throughout the region on a regular basis. In the last 4 weeks, we spent time with our economic development partners, people who are working to attract the jobs and investment to our region. We collaborate on business retention and expansion. We're collaborating on 4 RFPs right now for new prospects considering the capital region. And then we've also met with all of the regional chambers. Both of those kinds of organizations are important to the work we do and important to the capital region overall.
I'm not going to ask you who those 4 RFPs are with, because I know that economic development people are more tight-lipped than a grand jury.
We don't even know.
Oh.
In this case, we don't even know. It's early
Really?
on for those.
Oh, okay. Any prospective numbers?
On those, I don't have all the details on
No
those,
worries.
but I will tell you, our project pipeline right now is stronger than it's ever been. If you look at the last 20 years of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, we were founded 20 years ago, so we've been doing a lot of looking at the past 2 decades. We've announced, adjusted for inflation, somewhere between $60-70 billion of capital investment in the Baton Rouge area. It's $1 billion of annual payroll. $1 billion of annual payroll in the last 20 years have been added to our economy. Our prospect pipeline is about the same today. So I'm not saying that all of those projects are going to come to fruition. It's the nature of projects today. They are more capital intensive than they were 20 years ago, 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it is really, really exciting to think about what's coming, what the future holds. This is a generational opportunity for Louisiana and especially for the capital region. And I'm really bullish about it.
Walk me through the pitch. Like, how are we using this designation to sell the city in the area?
I think one thing that I would say is it's good to have these, right? And it kind of goes against the narrative of what we all think about ourselves in Louisiana, and especially in Baton Rouge. Trust me, our neighbors to the west do not have this kind of morale issue that we have in Baton Rouge. So what I would say is the first thing I want to do is pitch it to all of y'all that are listening. Guys, we have something special in the Baton Rouge area. We are doing well as an economy. We have a ways to go. There are things that we can do to improve our community, but this is an exciting moment for Baton Rouge, and we have to be able to harness it. It starts with us and us believing that message. It's been really interesting. Secretary Bourgeois at LED and the LED team talk about McKinsey recently did a new strategic plan for the state. And they made the point that in Louisiana, this is different than anywhere else in the country. Louisianans think less highly of themselves than people outside of Louisiana do about our own state. We have to change the way we think about ourselves and the way we talk about ourselves so that we can start to really shift and believe what's possible for Baton Rouge and for the state as a whole.
Oh, no, we're like this close to changing our state anthem to Lit's My Own Worst Enemy.
Yeah.
We got Lori Melos on with us from the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. All right, let's talk about the individual pieces making up the area here, because what's being capitalized on down in Ascension Parish right now is phenomenal, and that's taking a great resource and just making the most of that resource. How do we go parish by parish, zip code by zip code, and make sure that there's no stone unturned, that every site that's out there, every potential site that's out there is getting its due praise, getting its due, getting its due, what's the pub?
Yeah, exactly. Look, that's something that we're really working on. Site development is really important. We have lagged behind in Louisiana for a while on this. We have not invested in site development as a state. Other states are putting in hundreds of millions of dollars in site development. We have not done that historically. The legislature did designate about $150 million for site investment across the state this year. That's really good. But I want to point out, what we're seeing in Donaldsonville with this Hyundai Steel and the CF and the other projects over at the River Park Megaplex, that site was put together 10 years ago. What's happening in Richland Parish in North Louisiana with Meta and that big AI data center, that site was secured by the state in the early 2000s. These things take time. The seeds that we're planting today are going to bear fruit 10 years from now. So what I would tell you is what we're looking at in particular is the west side of the river. If you look at Donaldsonville, the River Park Megaplex, that site still has a lot of acreage left to be developed. We have 2 deep water sites still at that area. Mm-hmm. So that's really exciting. 2 deep water sites left on the Mississippi River. Those are going to be hot commodities. But what I'm really excited about is that we were really smart when we were crafting the incentives for the Hyundai Steel project, because the rail line that is going to unlock that site, that's going to go to that site, is going to unlock additional property, not just for that property, but as you come up around the curve into Iberville Parish. We're going to have more opportunities for development on the west side of the river. People are even saying it could be Geismar 2.0 on that side of the river. It's very exciting to think about what's possible for the development. And if we are intentional, we can develop that smart with really interesting, thoughtful growth policies from the very beginning. This is a chance for us to develop really, thoughtfully from the jump on that side of the river. So I'm very, very excited about that, to build on the legacy and the history of those communities, and to really start to build something exciting for both industry and quality of life.
What about here in East Baton Rouge? I mean, Ascension's getting all the love right now. What about here in East Baton Rouge? What are we targeting here? What are we growing? What are we loving?
Yeah, in the region as a whole, but especially in East Baton Rouge, what I'm really excited about are some of these new industries that we think are going to emerge. We've always talked about what can we attract to East Baton Rouge. And 20 years ago, it was all about digital media. When we attracted IBM, that win was exciting. But what was probably the smartest thing that Stephen Moray did when he was crafting that incentive package was investing in the computer science program at our universities. And so that program is now really starting to bear fruit. LSU in particular has a stellar computer science program, and we believe that we're going to be able to work with them. They're already doing some incredibly interesting things with NASA and other organizations around digital twins. I think that's a particularly emerging industry for the Baton Rouge area. We're already seeing companies start to do that technology and really develop that. That's a digital version of the built infrastructure, anything from a sewage system to a rocket ship. We're going to see more of that. More companies, especially industry, are going to be interested in that. But beyond that, cybersecurity for critical infrastructure, cybersecurity for defense, and cybersecurity for energy are places where Baton Rouge has a right to win. So what I would suggest to you is that we're going to be really thoughtful about authentic industry diversification, building off of our strengths and trying to add new industry clusters that really riff with those strengths and start to create new opportunities for our young professionals and our students in high school and college.
We got about 2.5 minutes left with Lori Melos from the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. Okay, the follow-up to that is one of the big keys with the River Park Megaplex was it was a blank slate. A lot of East Baton Rouge Parish is already built out. So how do we pivot our approach to make sure retrofitting back into existing structures is a viable option?
Yeah, so in East Baton Rouge Parish, we've done something that we're very proud of and excited about. It was in our work plan for this year at BRAC. We brought together the city parish, BRAC, Build Baton Rouge, the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, and the school district to catalog all of the publicly owned property in the city parish. And we're planning to do this statewide, not statewide, region-wide. It just so happened that East Baton Rouge had all of the GIS data and the partners ready to do it right away. So we have it all mapped. And what we're starting to look at are where are the places that are ripe for redevelopment. We know that the school district is looking at, they are already closing some schools. We're looking at maximizing our public school footprint, our physical space. We know that BREC is also considered, has been has a ton of property that they are trying to decide what is the highest and best use for that property. So what we're able to do is look at the city parish as a whole and start to identify opportunities for redevelopment, not just commercial and retail, but potentially even some industrial. We've identified one of those sites already, and they're starting to do that as a working group together.
Unbelievable stuff. She is Lori Melancon with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. I was about to head downstairs for a second cup of coffee, but I'm too fired up now. That was awesome.
There's a lot of great momentum in Baton Rouge, guys. We've got to get excited about it, and we've got to lean in. Now is our time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning. We will talk to you soon.
All right. I hope I see you soon.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
Yep. You know you will. It's coming up on 7:30 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Yeah, named a top 10 U.S. Metro by Site Selection magazine. It's good stuff. All right, before we get you to news coming up here in just a minute, got to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank, landmarkbankla.com, landmarkbankla.com. Hey, one of the great things about the Baton Rouge area is we are full of great communities within. Whether you're talking about Zachary, where they're heading to the other side of the river, Bruley, Denham, Clinton, we have a number of great communities around here. And that's what Landmark Bank does. They serve communities specifically. They are a community bank, have been for over almost 130 years. You can learn more at landmarkbankla.com, landmarkbankla.com, to learn more about a great community bank. Here comes news, traffic, weather. Chief Morse is next. Yo, man. Right? Did McNeely give you the text of whatever? Kill it. 737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to welcome back to the studio as we do roughly every month. Baton Rouge Police Chief TJ Morse is with us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Brian. Thank you for having me again.
No, always love the conversation. We're going to get into some numbers and where we are as a city in a little bit, but I kind of want to start with like a bigger conversation, if you'll indulge me.
Okay, yeah.
All right. President Trump has tossed out the idea of sending the National Guard to Chicago.
All right.
He's tossed out the idea of sending the National Guard to New Orleans. New Orleans' police chief is in favor of the idea. They're short, a little short staffed down there. Mayor hates it, but the chief of police likes it. I know we're nowhere on the president's radar, but if the conversation were to move in this direction, two-part question: is this something that BRPD would encourage, and logistically, how would it work?
Yeah, so interesting topic to discuss. And to be honest with you, I don't know how it would work. The military doesn't have any arrest powers. Like, they wouldn't be able to just start patrolling the streets and arrest somebody for burglary per se. But on the other hand, as I say all the time, we're 150 officers short. So we need help from everywhere, right? We need the community's help for reporting crimes. We need the community's help for locking up their cars and not letting their cars get broken into. All the community programs to keep the juveniles from committing crimes and giving them, things to do after school and work and jobs. And so we've just coming off this summer, we already work really, really well with other local, state, and federal officials. We worked with the DEA, ATF, FBI. We have officers assigned to all those task forces. And we did a big summer operation that we announced the results of just a couple of weeks ago. Over 100 arrests, mostly of those violent gang members. Seized a lot of guns, drugs. We got, I saw about 60 were getting federally indicted. So, things like that are really, really helping with our low manpower. Okay, so we have the track record of being able to collaborate, work well with federal officers who come to town, but National Guard would not be officers. That's the gist of what you're saying? Yeah, that's my understanding. I'd be happy to have those conversations. I think the better topic and the better use of resources would be to give us more FBI agents, give us more DEA agents, give us more ATF agents. Okay. Typically here in the Middle District of Louisiana, we don't get as many special agents for those federal governments as they do in, say, the Eastern District where New Orleans is, or the Western District, right? And so give us some more of those resources. We can keep doing some good things like we did over the summer. But I do have to take just a moment and say just how proud I am of the men and women of the Baton Rouge Police Department. Stepping up, doing more with less. When you look at, like our homicide division, extremely understaffed, overworked, but are way above the national average in clearances for homicides. They're doing a great job, those investigations, and just across the board in all of our divisions, they're really just stepping up to keep the city safe. We're looking at right now between 25 and 30% reduction in non-fatal shootings, over 10% reduction in homicides as we're looking at compared to last year. And so the men and women of the Baton Rouge Police Department are really, like we keep saying, doing more with less. 25 to 30% reduction in non-fatal shootings. Do y'all put more emphasis on the reduction in non-fatal shootings or the reduction in homicides? I think you got to look at it as all. Like you can't just look at everybody wants to know what's your homicide numbers, but I think you have to look at all shootings, right? 100%. You got to look at all the bullet problem, right? Yeah. How many rounds were fired, where were they fired, and what were the reasons they were fired, and not just only look at the ones where somebody lost their life. Well, yeah, you don't want to grade where our level of safety is based off of someone else's aim. Yeah, very good point. I mean, looking at both of those combined. And we're seeing, I don't want to call it feast or famine, but it's either the shootings are in the headlines or they're not. It's like we'll go a week, 2 weeks of an all clear, and then we'll go a weekend where you'll have 4 or 5 pop up all at the same time. Does that make your job harder or because I know y'all follow the data. Like I know y'all follow trends, people in places, right? Right. When it's that sporadic and then that concentrated, does that make things more difficult? So it makes us have those conversations. Why do we see an increase of shooting pop up in a certain area? Typically it leads back to some kind of retaliation thing or gang activity where, I shoot at you. And so now your friends want to shoot at me and my friends now want to shoot at your friends. That kind of back and forth. And so we have, our special investigation division, others that look into that and track down what are those motives. But the same thing goes for, perception is often reality. And so like if you had in your neighborhood, you had a string of 10 vehicle burglaries happen. Now everybody in your neighborhood thinks we have a extremely bad problem of burglaries in the entire city, where it might not be the case. It might just be 2 juveniles in your neighborhood that are doing those burglaries and not something that is citywide. So we definitely, lean into our technology to go into those areas. Every week we have our stat meetings and we look at where those spikes, everything from property crime to violent crime, are happening.
The vehicle burglars we're going to circle back on before we're done here, because
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to have a conversation with Gary Patero very soon about Operation Key Fob. So
Yes.
we'll circle back to that in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited Mr. Patero is doing that.
Yeah, it's he'll be in here, I believe, next week. So and it's important, but we'll circle back to that in just a little bit. You were talking about sorry. Before we close the book on the National Guard thing, is there an official take by the Baton Rouge Police Department and or the city? Is there an official take as to whether or not it would be welcomed?
I think the official take is we're open to help from anywhere and anybody.
Okay.
Right? What that help will look like, we'd have to have those conversations.
Sure.
But we're welcome any kind of help.
Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse is with us. We're talking about a number of different topics involving just the overall battle out there. You mentioned that homicides are down 10%, I believe you said?
Yeah, right about 10%.
And non-fatals down 25 to 30%. What else is trending? I mean, what other numbers are out there that we might be looking good or we might be needing help on?
Yeah, so I gave my 6-month kind of update to the city council a few weeks ago, and we were down in every single category across the board except for, I believe, regular just residential and business burglaries. I think we're up by less than 1%. So, calls for service are up. The demand on the officers are up. All those kind of things are up, but crime in general across the city. And I know people, doesn't seem like it to them because, like you say, the headlines that they read every day and things that are happening that they see on their next door neighbor apps and stuff like that. But crime in general in the city is trending down.
Calls for service are up, but crime is down. Does that mean that communication's getting better?
Yeah. So, calls for service can be anything from traffic accidents to suspicious persons. But yeah, we are always encouraging people to call and report things, let our officers go out there and talk to them, make reports. And because the more reports we have, the more that we can build those data and those data points and stats. With us having less resources, we have to be very specific where we can put them. And so those data points and the calls really drive where we put those.
We got Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse with us for a couple more minutes here. Chief Morse, if we could, I want to go back to, and you mentioned this briefly during the break, so I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. There was an unbelievably tragic accidental shooting last week, and a story at our news partners at WBRZ following up on it. A 3-year-old boy, now identified as Emery Woodard, died Friday morning after accidentally shooting himself with a handgun. The story was more about mental health, but walk me through what your officers go through on a scene like this, because it hits on so many different emotional levels and visceral levels.
Yeah, so very tragic, and my sympathy and heartfelt condolences go out to that family. I spent a lot of time with young man's grandparents and dad on the scene, the ones that were still there. We, of course, anybody that was inside the house, we took to go interview at our homicide office, and that investigation is still ongoing. I'm supposed to get a briefing later today. But a couple things. One, can't pass up the opportunity just to stress responsible gun ownership.
Mm-hmm.
You can't blame the gun in something like this. The gun didn't do anything, but the gun owners. So responsible gun ownership, everything from, keeping your guns locked up away from kids to also, what we've been pushing about not keeping them in your cars. Hundreds of guns stolen every year from unlocked vehicles. It's unacceptable. We got to keep those guns out of hands of people they shouldn't be in the hands of, especially our most vulnerable young kids. But when it comes to my officers, I go out on those scenes, in the middle of the night, get the phone calls, whatever, on homicides, on things like this, check on the families, but also to check on my officers. It's not natural and it's not normal to see that kind of violence and that kind of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
First officer on the scene did a phenomenal job trying to stop bleeding and doing CPR for several minutes by himself before other officers got there to assist, and EMS finally got there to pronounce the young man deceased. And so that takes a toll on the officers, right?
Yeah.
They wear many different hats. We had a similar situation happen last year, the officers out there. And I remember giving the press conference, or not a press conference, but just talking to the cameras. And as I'm talking to the cameras, I'm seeing the officers get in their cars and drive off behind me, going to the next call, right?
Yeah.
And so what I want the public to realize is, you're talking to that officer, and that officer has to be either, they're too weak, they get judged, or too strong, they get judged. They have to be what that citizen wants them to be,
Mm-hmm.
and not knowing what they just came off from doing.
Right.
And they, our officers save hundreds of lives every year from use of tourniquets and Narcan and CPR and all that training they get, and they see a lot of things. On that specific day, I went and checked on the officers. One of them, he wanted to keep working. He didn't want to leave his squad short, but I said, no, you need to take a time out for yourself. He said, well, let me finish this wreck that I just had this morning, so I'm not behind,
Right.
So he sat there, finished his wreck in his car, and then went home for the rest of the day. But definitely checking on all the officers and their mental health status is a big priority of mine.
Feel free to say no. But was that officer a parent?
Yes.
Okay. That's that, because these are the things that we don't think about when we read headlines or we read news stories. These are the things we don't think about is like when that officer's responding to his next call, the death of a 3-year-old is front and center. And if you're a parent, you can't help but put yourself in those shoes.
100%. And as I was sitting next to the dad, just have my hand on his shoulder, and I'm telling him, I have a 4-year-old at home that I just left, right? And so I can't imagine the grief that he was going through, and just reaching out to him, letting him know that I was there in Baton Rouge Police Department, anything we could do.
All right, we had 2 minutes to go here with Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse, and I don't want to have to answer to Gary, so let's move over to Operation Key Fob real quick. Vehicle burglaries. If I can, I happen to know this. They're actually down in Sherwood and up in Tara, and really, it's more about the homeowner or the car owner than it is about the actual crime.
Yes. So I see and it makes me laugh, and it's just misinformation. I see on social media sometimes people put, well, I never lock my car because then I would rather them go through my car than break the window. 95% of our vehicle burglaries are unlocked vehicles. Mm-hmm. And the ones that we do see forced entry where, someone smashes a window, the vast majority of those, and over 90% of those, is when they see something in plain view sitting on the seat, a purse, a laptop, a book bag that they want to get in there and take. They're not just randomly smashing windows to go and look and hope to find something,
right?
But they are pulling on lots and lots of unlocked doors.
Smashing windows makes noise.
Yes.
And pulling up on an unlocked door does not.
Correct.
The only noise they're going to make is when they close the door on their way out. I mean, that's so much about this is common sense. Why is it so hard to get the message through?
I think one, just misinformation. Two, just comfortableness / laziness. I don't know if that's too harsh of a word, but and so just in getting people to set a reminder. We were doing Operation Lock It Up, and now we're joining on with Mr. Patero with Operation Key Fob. But it's basically the same message. Hey, go through your routine, and we say 9 o'clock at night. Make sure your car's locked up. Make sure your house is locked up. Your alarms are on. All those kind of things. If even if you leave your car locked with the and the windows rolled up, if they smash the window and they go to unlock and open the door, it's still most of the time going to set off an alarm. Right. So they're not trying to smash windows. They're looking for those unlocked cars and items of opportunity.
I'd rather have them go through my car than bust the window. Well, then don't leave anything in your car. That's how guns end up on the street. He's Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate it.
As always, good stuff right there. We're at 750 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, got to check in on that Lake Charles Bridge. There's $2 billion allocated. What are we looking at for construction, and when can we move that construction to right here? We'll have that conversation coming up in just a little bit. Also, next hour, speaking with Mike Moncla from the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association. We're going to talk LNG. We're going to talk carbon sequestration. That's all coming your way right here on Talk 107.3 FM, as is Troy Carter. Quick break, coming back next. They were 2 seconds late. Yeah. I was right on time. Yeah. I had the clock open. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome stuff. That was appreciated.
I enjoy talking to you, man.
Likewise.
Very, very natural and comfortable. I appreciate you.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Later, y'all. Later.
Y'all sounded good. Ron led you right. Cowboy, what's happening?
How you doing, sir?
Big dummy, what's up, my man?
What you say? You been all right?
Well, take hard work and dedication, but you know me better. I am set up to come. I booked tonight. Me and my bride's coming for the 100th anniversary.
Awesome.
We booked tonight. I can't wait for y'all to meet Tanya.
We're gonna blow it out. It's gonna be great.
So it looks like a fun night. So what all they do? Tell me a little bit about it.
I have no idea.
Food, drinks.
Oh yeah.
Music.
Yeah. All it. I don't know about music, but
Food, drink.
I'd be shocked if we didn't have music. But yeah, definitely food and drink. I'd be shocked if we didn't have live music.
Oh, no. I'm just asking what all was going to happen. I mean, they got a casino there. They can also when they do this, just for the company, invite a bunch of advertisers. How's that work?
They have, oh shit, I meant to get his email. They've been asking me for like, Taylor Morse email. So like, there's gonna be a number of.
We saw Helen Moore
Sid's
when
gonna
he
be
was
there.
guarding his thing last week, 2 weeks ago. We saw Helen Moore.
Sid's gonna be there. It's gonna be a whole to do.
Gordy got sick to come in today at 9 for the show.
Awesome.
I've never met him. He's a redemptress guy like I was, but I never met him. But I told him bring him on. Like when I go in these communities, I used to always do a lot of local stuff.
Yeah.
It's part of Baton Rouge, big city, dude.
There's nothing happens here that doesn't translate statewide. This is why. Look,
Everything happens.
every Tuesday morning I talk with Crouere, and every once in a while somebody asks, "Why are you talking about New Orleans?" Because it translates here.
Yeah, New Orleans translates everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody else don't translate. I mean, Natchitoches don't translate here, but the big cities translate up.
Right.
No doubt. That's where all the people are.
Right, but when am I going to talk to Natchitoches?
No, what I'm saying is I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah,
But
but
when
like,
I used to go in these communities, I would. I still don't.
you know who I will talk to? I'll talk to Friday. Yeah.
It's still unusual, man. Baton Rouge, I think Baton Rouge and New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Freeport, all of those. And I think, and Ellis may be an independent, but either one of them. But what I'm saying is, all the change part. Look, we're on Com 1 today. I just finished and that's the change that went back to the Comrex for the 1 deal. So
Okay.
we need to check it at 8 if we can. I'll text Cave, but you can do it, man. Can you put it on Com 1 or does he have to do it?
So the only thing is like on this side, I don't know if it'll change on our side, but the Comrex on my side will just be in B.
Well, I already,
But I don't think that'll impact.
I already sent it to him just to do it so good. Yeah. It sure is easy coming in. Y'all got this set up. Made my life a lot easier. I like one.
7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. About to wrap up hour 2, turn it over to hour 3, where we're going to talk LNG. We're going to talk carbon sequestration, carbon capture and sequestration, potentially even usage. We got a lot to cover with Mike Moncla coming up in our next hour. Just the domestic energy topic is just it's never going to be a hot topic. So looking forward to that conversation. Also, Congressman Troy Carter going to join us. A little DC Current presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Do need just a second before we hop back in here. I need a second to tell you about the folks at Vex European, VEX, Vex European. That's V as in Vinny, because that's who owns it. Vinny and his team do a phenomenal job. I drive an 18-year-old Mercedes-Benz. My car is literally old enough to vote, and she hums like she's brand new because of Vex European, because I have a Mercedes tech. I have someone who is a master level, expert level technician when it comes to servicing a Mercedes. If you drive a European vehicle, go to vexeuropean.com, hit the little drop-down tab by vehicles. You will see the list of who they service, and it's limited to that because they are specialists here. They specialize in European vehicles with the makes of vehicle that are there. Jaguar, Audi, Land Rover, BMW, of course, Mercedes, Porsche. If you drive an Aston Martin, they've got someone for you there. In fact, they started with exotics. Vex used to be Vinny's Exotics. VexEuropean.com is the website. If you drive a European vehicle, highly, highly recommend. I use them. Recommend you do as well. We're at 7:57 at Talk 107.3 FM. We need to head on down to, or head on over, I should say, to Lake Charles. Calcasieu Parish Police Jury, and you heard the story in our news at the bottom of the hour. Our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network on top of it. Calcasieu Parish Police Jury receiving an update on the new $2.3 billion Lake Charles I-10 bridge project. Project spokesman Jonathan Hill says it's currently in the design phase, prepping for construction. That'll start next year.
The project is still in the design phase. We anticipate starting construction in the early part of 2026. Currently, right now, we are working to complete our interim design, which consists of about 60% of the design plan.
The new Lake Charles I-10 bridge will take several years to construct. Hill says that it's expected to be ready for use, though, by 2030.
The new bridge is anticipated to be open for use in 2030. There will be a period there where they can utilize the new bridge without it being tolled, and tolling is anticipated to start in 2031.
So they will require a toll a year after the bridge opens. Hill says that gap will give drivers time to get used to the new travel.
That's part of to make sure travelers can get accustomed to what the tolling infrastructure will be. They can get their GoPass account set up and everything they will need to facilitate a smooth tolling process once tolling commences in August of 2031.
I never know what to think when it comes to hearing about construction in Lake Charles on a bridge, knowing how badly we need a new Mississippi River bridge here in the Baton Rouge area. And we're sitting on 3 potential different sites to have a new bridge. And we had, State Senator Rick Ward put so much effort and energy into getting us to this point, and now it's just kind of stagnant right now, like a hurry up and wait scenario. And then you look over Lake Charles and say, shut up and take your loop, right? At the same time, though, you never want to step on progress and within the state. And this is certainly progress within the state. Because the last thing you want to do is have that regionality, that fiefdom mentality that says you can't get yours until I get mine. But nonetheless, we sit on 3 sites in Baton Rouge. We sit here, 3 potential finalists for a site, and we wait. We sit here in traffic, and we wait. Hour 3's next. Phil Collins, Easy Lover. 4 months now. 4 months stuck in my head. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how it got in my head in the first place, and then Ted Lasso reinforced it. And no, that's a top 5 Phil Collins. Yeah. Get a hold on you, believe it. Do I? Yes. Yes. So I've been sitting on this one waiting for it to get through the courts to where we're right. No, it's not because she literally has to reverse course and tell you what. Let me if I'm being fed down the line here. Let me. Oh yeah, that's probably the bigger part. Wait, are my headphones here in program 1 or 2? Are my headphones? My headphones are in 2. No, you're looking over here. What are my headphones? 2. Okay. All right. So I'm hearing both you and our feed. I'm not hearing a third thing. The third thing would be, um, all right, here we go. Jeb says on Facebook, I love this. I love this argument because it's such a setup for a damn slam dunk. Jeb says, capturing carbon, storing it under the ground is a bunch of bunk. It does nothing to help the environment, but it does lower the company that's doing its carbon footprint. How about we change the emission standards instead of trying to store one of the most abundant materials on the planet in an underground well that's just sitting there? Sitting there to fail in the future, it's all about these companies' bottom line today, not about what's happening tomorrow. Okay, fail how? You're telling me that what leaves my mouth when I exhale is somehow going to fail? Like it is CO2. It is carbon dioxide. It's harmless. We're putting it under the ground where it can be harmless there. Whether or not it's bunk or not, I tell you what, if I want to do something that's going to make absolutely no difference in your life one way or the other, and I want to pay you for it, are you going to tell me I'm an idiot or are you going to take my money? Little under 10 minutes. 8:13, 8:14 up in there. We don't have a hard break here. '806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Brian here with you. JP producing. Getting you ready for our third hour. Actually, before we start our third hour, can I tease what's coming up tomorrow morning in the third hour? 8:15 tomorrow. Actually, it's going to be closer to 8:20. 8:20 tomorrow morning, Ben Shapiro going to join us. Been sitting on this one since yesterday. Got Ben on. He's got a new book out called Lions and Scavengers. And so the interview's already in the can, which is why I'm comfortable teasing it. I wouldn't want to tease something if there's a possibility of him not being here. But the interview's already in the can, and it is fantastic. I wanted to talk about more than just the book, but once he and I got rolling, I had literally 8 minutes with him. Once he and I got rolling, it was like I didn't get to anything else but the book. So Lions and Scavengers is the name of the book. Ben Shapiro joins us tomorrow. Also coming up this week, Bill O'Reilly's going to be on with us before the week is out as well. So looking forward to that conversation too. Coming up this hour, we're talking LNG as well as carbon sequestration with Mike Moncla. And we're talking with Congressman Troy Carter, little DC Current presented by LABI. I believe with Congressman Carter today, we're going to step away from the news cycle for a little bit because it is Suicide Awareness Month, and I want to dive into that topic specifically. So be ready for it. It could get emotional. Won't get it. We're not going to fight about politics today, but it could get emotional. So right now, though, it's time for This Day in History. We start with shame.
Really?
Shame, JP.
That wasn't where I was going to start.
Shame.
Where are you starting?
Shame on you.
Why? What happened?
Yesterday.
Oh, wait, I missed something.
You missed a big one, sir.
What did I miss?
Huey Long was shot.
Oh, man.
Right?
Dang, that was pretty big. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
My bad.
I know.
That's terrible.
I know. We
Wow.
had, what do we have, like Joan of Arc yesterday? Wanting to fight France?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Huey Long was shot.
Oh, man. Dropped the ball on that one.
A little bit.
Dang.
A little bit.
My bad.
That's all right.
My bad.
Just mark that down on the calendar so next year on September 8th.
Exactly.
Gotta keep a running
Means
tab
that I
here.
missed it
See,
last
this is
year.
the problem with me always having like new producers.
Yeah.
Nobody's in long enough to where they're like, hey, I remember what happened last September 8th. No, because you'll be upstairs working for 104.5.
There we go. There we go. Hey, 1776. Let's begin there today.
Let's do that, yeah.
Congress officially renames the country as the United States of America from the United Colonies. So,
Okay.
Kind of a big deal. Didn't
Okay.
want to miss that
Move
one.
from colony to state.
Yeah.
I
Didn't
like
want to
it.
miss that. Let's see. 1908, Orville Wright makes his first hour-long airplane flight lasting 62 minutes and 15 seconds at Fort Myer, Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
He was up there for an hour?
Yep. A little terrifying, right? Like
no
if that's
drink
your first
service?
Right.
No Biscoff cookies?
Nope.
No?
That's it.
All right.
1942, first bombing of continental U.S. soil at Mount Emily, Oregon during World War II by Japanese planes.
Okay.
This is really funny here. 1945, I guess this is where we get the term debugging your computer, because the first, quote, bug in a computer program is discovered by a team of engineers, including Grace Hopper in Cambridge, Massachusetts, when a real-life moth is removed with tweezers from a relay.
Oh, that's insane.
So, yeah, I guess that's where we got the term debugging your computer.
All
I
right.
guess there was legitimate bugs. 1956, Elvis Presley's first appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Go for it.
Yep. 1957, U.S. President Eisenhower signs the first civil rights bill since Reconstruction.
Mm-hmm.
1965, some music history here. The Rolling Stones were at #1 in the UK with I Can't Get No Satisfaction, giving the band their fourth UK #1 single. And it's really cool because Keith Richards recorded a rough version of the riff in a Florida hotel room. He ran through it once before falling asleep. He said when he listened back to it in the morning, there was about 2 minutes of acoustic guitar before you can hear him drop the pick and then snore for about 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, on that very same day.
Really?
Very same day.
What we got?
September 9th, 1965. Hurricane Betsy landed in New Orleans.
Oof.
Yeah.
So here Keith Richards was in a Florida hotel room.
Right.
Just jamming.
Which, by the way, did it say where in Florida or just Florida hotel room?
Let's see. Let me look back here. No, just Florida hotel room.
Okay, because if it was Miami, Florida, Betsy was there yesterday.
Ooh.
So, like, Keith Richards would have been, like, tuning up
It could have
while
been a
Betsy's
thing.
hidden.
Yeah.
And, like, the next day.
And he's like, I can't get no satisfaction.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's not the story of Hurricane.
No.
I know that's about something completely
But
different,
still.
but it applies. It applies.
Hey, 1992. This is funny. I remember watching this as a kid.
Wait. If you're
Oh.
skipping all the way down to 92,
Yeah, what we got?
let me hit 1967
Ooh, okay.
and say, suck it, Falcons. This day in 1967, the Saints-Falcons rivalry began. It's the first time the two teams played was on this day in 1967, and yes, the Saints won.
Nice. 1992 music history here. Nirvana's Chris Novoselic knocked himself unconscious during MTV Video Music Awards after being hit in the head with his own bass after throwing it up in the air.
Awesome.
That's so
Good for him. That's good television.
So fun.
Love it.
He's a big dude, man. He really fell when that thing hit him. He's like 6'7". That thing hit him. He went down quick. 1995, Gangsta's Paradise was released today as well.
Okay. All right. Very good stuff.
Yeah. Let's see what moving on to birthdays.
Yes.
How about we begin with Colonel Sanders?
Really?
And there's another Sandman, Adam Sandler, as well today.
I saw him.
Yeah. Let's see, Michael Bublé, Hugh Grant as well.
All right, man.
This is a big one right here. Otis Redding. Otis Redding today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I can't get no satisfaction.
Yeah. And Louisiana native Lauren Daigle.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, big day today. Big day today. Got a couple of others on the sports front. If we have time, real quick. Former LSU pitcher, Kurt Ainsworth, born on this day in 1978. Bob Stoops, born on this day in 1960. Joe Theismann, born on this day in 1949.
Wow, that's a big
I know,
day for
it's
birthdays.
a huge
Wow.
day for birthdays. And for I'm dating myself here, but for the old timers who used to bet on sports or maybe still do, born on this day in 1918, Jimmy the Greek.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
long-time
there you
sportscaster, Jimmy the Greek, born on this day in 1918.
All right. Let's see. It might be a little reaching for deaths today. Do you have anybody besides William the Conqueror?
No, I sure do.
Okay. Let's see. Burgess Meredith.
There you go. Yeah, Burgess Meredith. Mick from Rocky, of course.
Yep.
And no, that was the only one I had was Burgess Meredith.
Okay. Let's see. International days today. National. What am I going to go with?
Oh, I'm sorry. I
today?
did have one more.
Okay.
Baseball. Catfish Hunter.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, man, some days it's just.
What, for National Days?
Yeah. You got any good ones?
I mean, define good.
I've got
right?
cheesy stuff. I got Wonderful Weirdos Day. I've
That's
got
stupid.
When Pigs Fly Day. Exactly.
Okay.
Hey, National Sudoku Day.
No. Do you play Sudoku?
No, I haven't played in a while.
I haven't played Sudoku since I started on Wordle and Connections and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I've got National Teddy Bear Day.
Yeah, see? What about International Box Wine Day?
No.
No, see?
No.
Yeah.
All right. We're at 8:15 at Talk 107.3 FM. We're running a little bit long here. Quick break. Come back. Let's talk with Mike Moncla next.
Whoa.
Matt says if it's harmless, then why bother? Because there is a faction of the people out there that believe that if you put it under the ground, it'll be better for the air. It'll be better for the atmosphere. Those people that believe that are willing to pay you to put it under the ground. I don't understand why you don't just take their money. I don't understand it. And by the way, when you look at the shit state that this state has become over the last 40 years, it's because we had this kind of mentality when it came to oil and gas as well. Not the same mentality, but a mentality where we didn't want to work with the companies that wanted to work with us. And that's how Houston got built. And that's how Baytown became a thing. Like, could you imagine if New Orleans was the size of Houston and Morgan City was Baytown? Like, or Houma? Like, it just, we decided that instead of doing business, we were going to, stomp our feet and be just complete contrarians to it. And history is about to repeat itself. And Texas is going to build up another ginormous, pile of wealth. And we're going to sit here being the poorest of the poor, and the people who want jobs are going to go next door to Texas, the people who not just to work with carbon, but all the peripheral industries as well. We're going to go next door to Texas, and we're just going to be stuck here holding our dicks. By leaking carbon dioxide into a body of water, if you put something a mile under the ground, it's not going to leak because it's pressurized. Remember when they set that little tin can down underwater to look at that Titanic? You have the same pressure underground that you have underwater. It's going to be pressurized. It's going to just crush itself. It can't get back up because of the pressure. I'm getting all animated about it. Are we still on break? Okay. That was a short break. 817 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to pivot over to the energy sector. Time to welcome back to the show Mike Moncla. It's been a minute. How are you, Mike?
Brian, it's been a long time, man. Thanks for having me this morning.
No, always love having you on. Always love the conversation. I know we're supposed to talk LNG here, but man, I've been going at it with the chat during the breaks and whatnot. So we're live on Facebook every day, and we've got our crew over there having separate conversations than the on-air conversation. And we've been talking carbon sequestration off the air, but I'm getting myself all red in the face with it, man. It is a battle right now.
Yeah, it really is. And I was really hoping to be over by now. I think we're going to get ready to go into our fourth session next year, still fighting this stuff.
Well,
it's not going away.
No, it'll be over soon enough when Texas takes all the jobs and Texas takes all the money. We like building Texas.
No doubt.
I'm
they're
sorry.
getting ready to lap us.
I hate being so pessimistic about it. I hate being so pessimistic about it. But that's exactly what's going to happen. Meanwhile, we are thriving in the LNG front, though. So let's talk a little bit about it. 2024, the United States was the largest exporter of LNG, handling 61% of the nation's LNG exports. How does that set us up for the future? I mean, are we like,
Brian,
can we keep up this pace?
I'm hearing a commercial right now.
Okay, something's going to come out of offline. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, there we go.
Where we're at right now,
I couldn't hear anything you said. I was only hearing that.
It's all good. We're on the background here is we're setting up for Moon Show next because he's in studio today.
I got you.
Louisiana handles 61% of the U.S. LNG exports for 2024. Can we keep up at that pace? Are we set to continue on that level?
I think so. I mean, we're looking at LNG plants that are continuing to expand. So I think it's going to continue. You've got a world demand for the product. You've got a president that has totally changed the Biden stance and the pause and all that Biden did to suffocate industry. And President Trump has taken the noose off the neck, for lack of a better word. And, I mean, look at what LNG has done. And even natural gas prices, while we've seen oil come down under Trump, it's not helpful to most of my industry. Natural gas is actually going up. So there is definitely demand for the product.
So I start there to take it where we're going next, and that's building out further within the state. And the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, as it were, went through the public comment period on the Plaquemines LNG expansion project. Talk to me a little bit about the what's going on in Plaquemines and the role that it plays within our state.
Yeah, look, it's the second largest in the state, and my understanding is they're going to continue to expand, and it may surpass and become the largest. But it's obviously a different part of the state than all of the other facilities that are in the Cameron, Sabine Pass area. So it's the only one over on the east side of the state. So I don't know if that's going to play to an advantage for them, but certainly they have one in Cameron as well. So they've kind of diversified into two different areas of our state, and they're capitalizing on it, man. I think they're a great company, and they're doing a lot for communities. And we're happy they're LOGA members, and we're happy for their growth.
Well, from LOGA's perspective, we're talking with Mike Moncla, who heads up LOGA. From LOGA's perspective, you use the word capitalizing. How do we avoid cannibalizing? Like, are they able to work in concert?
Oh yeah. Like I said, I think it's the supply demand thing, and in Europe is starving for energy, and we have it right here in Louisiana, from the Haynesville Shale to our pipeline infrastructure, all the way down to Plaquemine and to Cameron. So Louisiana is in a really great spot for our energy industry. So we're excited about the future for natural gas.
Let's continue with that future. And yeah, you bring up Europe's level of demand right there. I hate to ask such a homer of a question, but why is it advantageous from Europe to come shop with us?
Well, the energy that they have doesn't work. And, obviously we want to try to keep Russia and enemy countries from supplying their energy. So we need to be their partners, and we need to supply our allies with natural gas to fuel their nations.
We got Mike Moncla with us from LOGA, the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association. As far as the FERC's public comment period, give us a recap. What all was heard? What kind of arguments were made?
We sent comments in, but to be quite honest with you, I have not seen the results of that hearing. So we did send our comments in for on behalf of Venture Global from Loga, but I don't know the details yet.
No worries. That was actually what I was curious about was what are our comments? What kind of pitch do you make?
Oh, what it brings to Louisiana, the jobs that it brings, the tax base that it brings to the parishes that they're in, and what they bring to communities. I mean, they're doing great things in the communities that they're in. So it's all in all a good thing for the people of Louisiana and employees, high-paying jobs in the places that their plants are.
When you mentioned Russia a little while ago, Mike, I think this is an important point to follow up on. Not only do we want it for our own economy, not only do we want it because you want to give less power to Russia, but we do it cleaner and better as well. How strong does that argument play when it comes to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission?
Well, I think they're a national agency, so they're probably going to side with us on that. I don't know how much they put into the global market of Russia selling to a different country, but they might. I mean, I don't know the FERC guys, personally, and how they govern, but I mean, I think they're going to side with United States companies and United States investment.
Is there any way to timeline any of this?
I don't know, but these projects are they're not a snap of the finger kind of thing,
right?
So I mean, when you start building, I mean, have you been down to Venture Global's facility in Plaquemine? I was able to go down there when Chris Wright and Doug Burgum, Interior and DOE, came in with the governor, and I was absolutely blown away at the size and what they've done out there with this whole wall levee system all the way around it. I mean, it is a phenomenal facility. And so when you think about adding on to that, I mean, golly, I don't know how long it's going to take. So, anything in government takes slow. I call it like trying to turn an aircraft carrier in Vermilion River. And if you're not from Lafayette, the Vermilion River, you really can't turn an aircraft carrier in there. But yeah, it just takes a long time to get the government to do it. And then once they approve it, it's a long time process to get that built. I mean, this thing is huge, man. It's crazy. You gotta go check it out if you get a chance.
No, it's who was I talking to about just the size and the scope of the project? Like the physical square footage or acreage of the project is just it's unfathomable how large it is. When you look at other facilities that are out there.
The day I was there were 6,000 people there working.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
high-paying jobs.
What an unbelievable level of impact that is, too, when you stop and think about it. We've got Mike Moncla on with us for a couple more minutes. Okay, so if FERC is going to move at the speed of government, is there a way that Venture Global could stay ahead of the game? I mean, as far as like making the physical investment into the physical structure, they can't put the cart before the horse here, can they?
I don't think so, man. I think they're playing by the rules. I think they're going to do whatever FERC allows them to do. But look, they're up to, I think they're getting 27 million tons per year is what they're exporting now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, man, that's a lot. I mean, they're doing tremendous things over there to fuel the world.
It's enough to put your name on the field in Tiger Stadium, to be sure.
That's right. Yeah.
We got just a couple minutes left here with Mike Moncla. The Venture Global project. Do you have numbers on projected jobs? You said 6,000 people were down there already. What's the addition going to run us?
Man, I don't know that. When I was there, some of that 6,000 was actually construction piece of it.
Right.
So maybe once the construction's done, it may level off lower than that. I really don't know. I can't speak to their employee count there, but I do know that day they said there were 6,000 people on site.
What are we doing to catapult this potential? And I don't want to jinx it before it's out there, but catapult this into more victories from Loga's perspective.
Well, I think we're winning across the globe, and natural gas is a good, clean fuel, and we have an abundance of it in Louisiana. And between Cameron and Plaquemine, we've got more facilities than anyone. We're moving, like you said earlier, 61% of all U.S. exports are coming from our state. So we're in a great place, and we just need to continue forging forward.
Mike, you might have mentioned this earlier, but you said we're at, what was it, 27.2 million tons per year? Or no, I'm sorry. That's our capacity right now, or that's where we're going to be?
That's just Plaquemine facility. That's just Venture Global.
What's the ceiling here? What can they get to?
I read somewhere where they could be above 40. I don't know what a timeline looks like on that, but they would be above 40. And I think they're the number two. They're the second largest in the state right now. I think Crouere is actually the largest, and I think they're putting out 30 million tons per year. So Venture Global's behind them, but again, they're looking to expand.
Just a minute or so left with Mike Moncla from the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association, and we always appreciate the time. I turn this into the sales pitch for the next big project to come around. How do you take current business and make it more business?
A lot of these projects are coming from, you're selling your product to overseas markets that really want the CCS component.
Ooh.
And that's something that we're going to have to deal with in the future because, we're still getting a lot of pushback from the NIMBYs and the parishes, and we need to get this thing moving in the right direction so we can keep it going.
That CCS part of this, that back end of the equation right there, I think is going to grow in level of importance. Have you seen anything that's showing that globally we're going to trend away from that?
No. I think the European markets they think a little different than us. I don't think that putting carbon in the ground is going to change the temperature of the earth, but that's what they want. I mean, when I go to the grocery store and I come back with carrots and I didn't get the organic, my wife is mad. So Europe wants that organic label, as our governor put it in Lake Charles at his speech.
Yep.
That tag on there. So when he said that, it kind of reminded me of me going to the grocery store for my wife. So yeah, I mean, Europe wants that tag.
If Europe wants that tag, then why wouldn't we sell it to them? That's good. That's going to be the pressing question for the next year at least. In the meanwhile, he's Mike Moncla from the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association. A little update on what's going down there with Venture Global down in Plaquemines. We always appreciate the time, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. We are due up for a quick break. News, traffic, weather. Congressman Troy Carter slated to join us next. A little DC Current presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. That's coming up next on Talk 107.3.
Our phone guest could.
Yeah, he was. It was when he was in offline. I had Mike Moncla on. Yeah, we're good. We're good. What fires off the local brakes? Hey, I want to make sure we're on Facebook Live for the opening of Moon show. Like, close out mine and start on Moon. Yeah, because Sid Edwards is going to be in first. So I want to get that video and get that video specifically to Jackson, who's going to be doing some social media work with us. Yeah. Jill says CCS is a scam. How? Byron says, I understand the concern of people regarding carbon capture. I don't. What I don't, because I understand science. It's a post-combustible gas. Like, if we were putting oxygen under the ground, I would be very, very worried because that can blow up. Yeah, that's a damn good question, Byron. Why don't we protect our aquifer? The Southern Hills Aquifer. Why don't we make Exxon use river water? It's readily available, it's easily filtered, and it will go right back into the damn river. People aren't storing billions of tons of red sneakers underneath our lakes and wetlands. Just look at what the oil industry has done to our coastline. And this is so much different and so much more efficient than that. If they had to build out a billion different pipelines for it, it would be different. We're talking about over-centralized, like what's the word I'm looking for? It's a hyper-focused area, each well. And by the way, those pipelines are already built out. The damage is already done. Yeah. 836 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Very quickly, let me remind you about the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Science. 271-4096 is the phone number. 271-4096 to get a hold of Danny and his team. I know it's not a huge slate of elections this season, but there are a number of judges' seats that are on the ballot. If you're running for one of those seats, nothing Danny does better than this. Political season is that, like, he is in full go mode. Give him a call, 271-4096, and not just the yard signs. We're talking the brochures. We're talking the door hangers. We're talking the big signs that can go out as well. 271-4096. He's physically located in Denham Springs, but services the entire metro area. Danny and his team do a phenomenal job. Whether you're talking about the political signs or refreshing your business's brand, 271-4096 for 5 Star Printing and Signs. All right, time for DC Current. And we welcome aboard Congressman Troy Carter. Been a minute. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you, brother?
I'm doing very well as well. So the plan last week was to get you to, like, recap Hurricane Katrina's 20th anniversary, but I believe you were in the air
Yes.
on your way back to D.C. While we were supposed to be doing our segment. Would you mind indulging me just a little bit? Because when I did a whole Katrina anniversary show, and I wanted the perspective of as many people who were boots on the ground or living in New Orleans at the time. Can you give me 2 minutes on your reflections?
Yeah, I will tell you the thing that I remember most, in addition to obviously the high waters and the horrific screams of people needing help, it was the immediate aftermath of the storm, where there was the most eerie silence I've ever heard in my entire life. Ever witnessed this level of just utter silence. Not a bug, not a bird, no insects, nothing. The only thing you could hear in the distance was the sound of choppers bringing provisions or rescuing people from rooftops. It was harrowing. It was something out of, for those who remember this, the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Like the whole world had come to a complete stop. The pain and suffering of people during one of the most undoubtedly most horrific times in Louisiana in the history of a natural disaster. 20 years later, it's still hard to talk about. 20 years later, while we commemorate solemnly the resilience of the people, the outstanding nature of the goodwill of our first responders and those great good Samaritans who came out on their own to help people. Unfortunately, the national press painted a picture that made it look as if everyone was horrible and screaming and yelling and angry because things weren't happening fast enough. Yes, things didn't happen fast enough, and people had a right to be angry. But I will tell you that wasn't the best picture. The best picture was the fact that the greater majority of the people, black, white, from all different parts, Hispanic, Asian, rich, poor, were all equalized into one boat, pun intended.
Yeah, pun very much intended.
It didn't matter what hands pulled you out the water. It demonstrated that at its most basic level, we are all equal. And it took a natural disaster to show that. And unfortunately, we find ourselves now in 2025, 20 years later from that storm, going backwards as it relates to where our nation is. So there's a lot of correlations to talk about, and maybe at another time when we can spend more time on it.
Yeah.
Would love to do that, but I will tell you, Hurricane Katrina was a tough lesson learned. Great people in our region, first responders who sacrificed their life to save others, demonstrated the resilience and strength of a great people in our state and city.
We got Congressman Troy Carter with us. This is the DC Current presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Congressman Carter, forgive me for saying it, but I'm glad that it's hard to talk about, because as long as it's hard to talk about, you haven't forgotten what the true level of devastation was. Like, if we could look back on it and just gloss it over, I think that would be wrong.
That's right.
With all the documentaries that were out, all the conversations that we had on this show, like I was catapulted back to 20 years ago, and just how like intense the devastation was. So yes, at a later time we could take a further deep dive into it. I wanted to start off there because we missed out on it last week.
No, I'm glad you did, because you know what, we can never talk about it enough, particularly, and I'm going to throw this in because it's critically important, particularly when we have discussions about minimizing or eliminating FEMA. Man, listen, reform it, rebuild it, strengthen it, correct it, but you can't get rid of it.
I just said, but how far to tear it down before you build that is, there's going to be such a good discussion here, isn't there? It just with so many different angles, because it does need to be, FEMA failed on so many levels. So how do you find specifically those levels and root them out?
Well. What you don't do is throw the baby out with the bathwater. What you don't do is, because you have a flaw, you don't get rid of the whole operation that's saved. We can talk about things that went wrong, but how about talking about all the things that went right? And imagine if there was no FEMA, how many things would have gone wrong? That's where I think we sometimes miss the boat. Yeah, it needs to be reformed. It needs to be reimagined. It needs to be streamlined. It needs to be modernized. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't need to be eliminated. That's ridiculous.
Oh, no, I'm with you on that front. I think we're on different levels of the level of breakdown, but I'm with you on, you don't scrap the whole thing. This isn't like a Batman Begins, Gotham has to die before it can come back to life sort of thing. It's not that extreme, but
you don't throw your car away because you had a flat tire, man.
4 flats in the transmission fell off. Then what?
I don't think FEMA had 4 flats in the transmission. That's a stretch.
All right, fair enough. We got stuff to talk about today. Okay, let's start with the Green Bridge. What are we looking at here? New Orleans East got a big bump with this.
Yeah, listen, this is a very proud moment, a very great opportunity to demonstrate, that government works. When it works, it works. It doesn't always work as fast as it does, but here's a perfect example of a $41 million victory for LAO2 and the surrounding areas. This is the Green Bridge is what people refer to it as, but it's the Parish Road Bridge that connects New Orleans East St. Bernard. It recently reopened because it was in desperate need of repair. It has been completely repaired and both lanes are open. This bridge underwent a multi-year rehabilitation to restore its concrete structural steel components. You know, this bridge was in trouble, but remember, some 24,000 people travel this daily. It's an anchor for NASA at Michoud, U.S. Coast Guard base, GE, the Blade Dynamics. It is an emergency route for storms. Speaking of Katrina,
hurricane evacuation.
For hurricane Katrina and hurricane routes. St. Bernard uses it. I mean, it is a huge win for the people in St. Bernard, for the people in Orleans, for the people in the surrounding area. This is a part of the bipartisan infrastructure bill, once again demonstrating that when we work together, Republican and Democrat together, we can get things done. This was a massive win for our country, and Louisiana was right in line, fighting to get our funds, and this is one of the first announcements I was able to announce after successfully passing the bipartisan infrastructure bill. One of the first lots of money to come out of that was this $41 million for the state of Louisiana to rebuild the Green Bridge. It's a huge win for the people, and again, demonstrative of what working together looks like.
All right, important note, since we are on here in Baton Rouge, I got to clarify here. Green Bridge has nothing to do with the climate. It was just when it was first built, it was painted green. Like it's physically a green bridge. Has it gone back to that? Because I know it was brown for a while.
No, it's actually gone back to green. And
Let's
you're right.
go.
Green is the color of the bridge. It was the Parish Road Bridge, but it was actually it was green over the years. I'm not sure if that was ever the original color or if that just kind of patinaed into that. I'm not certain, but it is now painted green.
Okay.
Because it was referred to that for so long that it became its de facto name. But now it is intentionally painted green, as close to the color as we were able to match it, and it is forever now known as the Green Bridge. That is a major thoroughfare now, once again, in its safety, security, and luster of a brand new bridge, giving thousands and thousands of motorists comfort that they have a secure bridge to travel.
We got about 2.5 minutes left with Congressman Troy Carter. Congressman, if I could tie this one back into Hurricane Katrina as well. September is Suicide Prevention Month. You take mental health very seriously. I know New Orleans in the wake of Katrina was overwhelmed with PTSD, and then eventually, depression was running rampant around. Talk to me a little bit about your role in Suicide Prevention Month.
So this is an issue that I have really taken up as a cause celeb to bring light, attention, and resource to the discussions around mental health and ensuring that we never, ever forget and never put ourselves in a position where we look at a person on a street corner shadow boxing or talking to themselves and think, bum, get a job. There's somebody's child, man. That's somebody's brother, somebody's father, somebody's niece, someone's daughter who are suffering. They're suffering with mental health. And it has for far too long gone unaddressed. We know since Katrina, you talked about PTSD, COVID, our children were left in isolation. Individuals, people, adults were left in isolation, left to only social media to entertain themselves, and we know the great dangers and harms that it has caused. The reality is we have to do a better job at admitting and accepting that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. It's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to have depression. It's not okay when you ignore it. When you have a headache, you take an aspirin. When you have high blood pressure or diabetes, you see a doctor, you take a pill, you exercise, you modify your diet. But somehow we think when it's mental health, it'll just go away on its own. No, it won't. But if you're in a room of 20 people, 17 of them are suffering with some form of depression or anxiety just like you. You're not alone. Don't feel like there's something wrong with you. Don't feel like you're alone. We have a fully funded 988 hotline that a person can call 24/7, 365 days a year. It's always manned with a professional. It is not public. They will not ask your name. They will not trace your phone call. You don't have to give your name or number. You can just talk to them. 3 a.m. and you're contemplating hurting yourself or hurting someone else. 3 a.m. and you just need somebody to talk to because you don't know what to do. Dial 988. There's someone, a trained professional, who can direct you to resources. We have to make sure that we are providing resources to people and to end the stigma associated with mental health. Mental health is real, and more people than you know are in the same boat that you may be. Some are getting help, and they're living normal, happy lives. Many are not, and they continue to live in the darkness of fear and shame. You need not do that. There's nothing to be afraid of, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. Resources are here to make your life better. Trust me, I pray that someone's watching or listening to this now, and you hear me, and I ask that you reach out, dial 988, look into the various resources that are available. We are here to help. Professionals are there. We're trying every day to put more resources back into mental health, to get mental health facilities closer to communities, back into schools where they used to be, where young people can have access to trained professionals. I have introduced the Mental Health Workforce Act, which is to address the racial disparities around mental health. We know that there are far too many minorities that are on the professional side of providing resources for people with issues that require mental attention and mental health professionals. So the Mental Health Workforce Act would provide opportunities for people who would want to go into this area, because we need more trained professionals, and there would be relief and scholarships available if they chose to do this through the Mental Health Workforce Act. We know 988 works. We know mental health is real. We know that there are ways to make you better. We know that it must happen with us working together. Please don't feel like you are alone. This month is a month that we highlight mental health awareness, but mental health awareness is every month, 12 months out of the year, 365 days a year. If you need help, there are people available to help you.
He is Congressman Troy Carter. We do D.C. Current at this time just about every week. Congressman Carter, we always appreciate the time, sir.
God bless you, my friend. Have a fantastic week.
You do the same. Missed the hard break by 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Let's break it and get back here on Talk 107.3. Congressman, you got 2.5 minutes. By all means, take 6.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
You producing the show here?
Yes.
Okay. I want to make sure. What do you want to make sure I get videos?
Yeah.
Especially the Sid
Yeah.
Peters.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I'm not
What does
shooting
he
anybody.
think we're running here?
I don't know.
What does he think we're running here?
Is happening up in here. Y'all have been up since what? 3 in the morning.
Just about.
3:45.
What happens?
I get up at 3:45.
That's insane. I'm like an hour later, but wow. But you got a show to prep for. I'm like, hey, I can come in here and.
Well, I hand you shit on a silver platter, man. It's.
That's what I'm saying.
That's you
That's what I'm
walk in,
saying.
it's like, here's
It
this,
makes
this,
sense
and this.
that you would wake up at
Yeah.
3:45.
Yeah, go live Musso's life for a hot minute.
That's why I'm like, it makes sense for you. I mean, I just come in and.
So when you get a chance, make sure you give me that segment, the whole segment for the coach.
Oh yeah.
And then I'll disperse it where it
Okay.
go.
Sounds good.
Yeah. What's his buttle be able to pull
I'm
up?
gonna get his logo ready to pull up because immediately, like right after, I'll just transition all that. We don't have any cuts here.
Yeah, I don't know. getting your fourth reminder. Cade with the fourth reminder. Make sure we get Moon up on Facebook and YouTube today, just like we do every other day that he's in here. It's like Office Space, you know?
Yeah.
What's that say here about you and your TPS reports?
I get it, man.
Let me clean this mic off.
Say, Kay, that thing you do every day, repetitiously, just keep doing that. All right, I will. No problem, boss. I got you. Got
See
you.
who's on the line there.
Come on. Oh. Studio. Tiffany Dixon. What? Tiffany Dixon. This is a recorded.
Oh.
This is an attempt to reach Tiffany Dixon or whatever. It's like, whoa. Whoa, daddy. I mean, Brian.
Hey, now.
Hey, kids, settle down. Brian asks 2 questions. I got a 6-minute answer. Yeah, man. It happens.
I think when I tell him there's 2.5 minutes left, he starts a 10-minute timer and does his best to get the whole way through.
He says, all right, bet.
He's like the Rick James sketch. He's like the Rick James sketch from the Chappelle Show, and my clock is the couch. Fuck your couch.
Nobody puts Troy on a timer.
Bro. Okay, like, real talk. Do you think he's doing this shit on purpose at this point?
It could be. Because he doesn't break.
I love him either way.
Allow
I know.
space to get in.
I know. And,
Like,
and I'll do the, and like, yeah. And like,
and he's like, I'm going.
Fuck your clock. Fuck your clock. Like, so here's the thing. If he's doing it to troll me, if he's doing it on purpose to kind of like respect, that's what I love. Like, when I have friends in this world, they got to be dicks to me, right? Like, if you're not my friend unless you're being a dick at some point. Like, I would respect the hell out of it if he's doing. If he's not doing it on purpose, then I don't know where I'm at.
Because if you listen to it,
but if he's legitimately effing with me,
it is like,
no, I know. But if he's legitimately effing with me, I got nothing but love for it. Damn.
So good stuff. It's so good.
Congress for 2.5 minutes. That's a long time to talk.
Yeah.
$8:58 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Got to remind you about the folks at Breck. Not too soon to hit up breck.org and start scrolling through looking for the holiday camps. Yeah, I know. Thanksgiving's still a ways off, right? Christmas time, the Christmas break's still a ways off, right? But Breck has got camps for you. When the kids are out of school and you're like, oh, what do I do with the kids this week? Breck has got camps for you. Hit them up at breck.org. It's not too soon to start looking now, scouting them out right now because they're year-round at Breck. And they're here for all of us on all fronts. So start scouting that out right now at breck.org. I love Breck during the fall because it's the time to get out in the parks. Once it starts getting a little cooler outside, I know we got fake fall right now, but once it starts getting a little bit cooler outside, you see the folks making their way out to, like, one of my favorites is Highland Road Park, just to see community come together. Breck.org. I'm supposed to talk hurricane season here because tomorrow is the unofficial peak of hurricane season is slated for tomorrow. September 10th is our unofficial peak of the whole season. There is no cyclone activity expected for the next 7 days. I'll pick this topic up tomorrow in that, can we start looking ahead? Why has it been this way thus far? We'll pick that topic up a little bit tomorrow. Before we get out of here, got to remind you, Talk 107.3 is your new home for Ken Trahan's original prep football report. Get live in-game updates, a full statewide scoreboard, and check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m., Ken Trahan's original prep football report, presented locally by Dr. Pepper and the Harold Perkins Jr. tuition program. You'll hear it right here on Talk 107.3 FM. I don't know if anybody tuned in last Friday night, but that show is a whirlwind and amazing. All right, that's going to do it for us. There is no outside in today, except that the Paris Road Bridge in New Orleans East is complete. Thanks to Congressman Troy Carter for that update. We're out of here. Moon's next. Moon's in studio. He's got Mayor President Sid Edwards kicking him off. That's coming up next. All right, we got to bounce, y'all, so John can turn things around.